Welcome to Manga Machinations! This is episode number 449. This week, we're doing a Twipple Dip. I am Mono no Manga, Dakazu. With me is Mono no Cat, Morgana Santilli.
Meow.
Mono no Books, Seamus2389.
What does the book say?
I don't know.
Sha.
What does the fox say?
And Mr. Mono no Horny himself, Darfox8.
Oh, I don't know what the horny noise is. Mokuri!
There you go. Yes, welcome to our podcast, everybody. We're doing a Twipple Dip this week, and we finally got to read the next collection of Yokohama Kaidashi Kikou. And we had our nice discussion about Mono no Horny and Mono no Star Trek last time we talked about it. Figured, yeah, we're going to be talking about, Mono no Aware, the transient nature of things. And so I was thinking, what transient things, well, not transient, but what things do I think about things? And I think about manga things. Morgana thinks about cats.
I do, among other things, but I definitely do think about cats.
Mm-hmm. Seamus reads lots of books, so...
Yeah, but reading lots of books and thinking about books are two different things.
I think about a lot of books and read not as many as I'd like to. Because I work in publishing.
Yeah, I mean, we share most of all of these, except for Dar and his Mono no Horny.
I'm the only horny person here.
The only horny person on Earth. Dar, so alone.
The last unicorn.
I won't think about the visual much, but okay.
Yes, welcome to Manga Machinations. And yes, we are recording live again on YouTube. Of course, the recording will be up on our podcast feed, so you can listen to it there. But if you haven't, and you're around on 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can check out our Manga Mac TV YouTube channel, and we're streaming over there. Darfox is wearing his... Is that the Summer Games Done Quick shirt?
I believe it was Summer Games Done Quick. One of the Games Done Quick Yeti charity shirts features Ape Escape and Naked Snake. Naked Snake is in the shirt, but he's camouflaged, so you have to actually look at the shirt. It's pretty neat. It's pretty neat.
That's very topical because there was an announcement of that Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, Metal Gear Delta.
Metal Gear Delta, which is an interesting name. Makes me think that they're going to remake all of them.
Are you excited about this, or are you worried about this? Because
I'm kind of ambivalent. I'll play it if it looks good. I think it's going to be really faithful because they've shown some screenshots, and the environments look almost exactly the same. They're just like really pretty now. But even the geometry of the buildings and the slopes, it looks like it did in PS2. So it's kind of interesting how faithful the environments look. I'm thinking this, originally I thought it was going to be the Resident Evil remakes, where they remake the game from the ground up, but they just have very similar environments and the same kind of arc. I'm thinking this is going to be like literally the same game, but like with pretty graphics. We'll see.
Yep.
I'm kind of ambivalent. Like I said, like I don't think it's a huge slap at Kojima's face. It's whatever. Kojima, he's off doing his own thing. I think basically I'm just curious who's making it, because a lot of people from the old Kojima productions were left at Konami, but that's been a long time. I assume they've been shuttered off to other pachinko farms since then. I assume that they've has broken up that team. But if they didn't, I'd be interested to see that team work on like a remake. That's an interesting idea, but we'll see.
This feels like a cash and grab from Konami. They're kind of a scummy company now, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, well, they're being scummy for a long time, but this is different though, because their cash and grabs have been their pachinko parlors, and their like them developing a game is out of character for them. They're actually developing a video game.
Hold on now. They're not developing a video game.
What do you mean?
They're redoing a video game. like they sit down and said, let's make up a game. They're like, well, we got the architecture, and we have the layout and the missions and the dialogue.
Okay, but they're still putting manpowers to create that video game. Like the people still have to do that. For the most part, it just basically a lot of pre-production, I assume. So, and there was rumors that they're gonna be like they already announced a bunch of Silent Hill games. So, I'm not sure what changed. They see it worthwhile to actually develop some games now, a little bit at least, to make money and not just like health clubs or whatever other Yakuza dealings they have. I don't know. The big rumor is they're like Yakuza.
They're mostly mobile games now, but mobile games we'll never see here in US. Anyway, we're boring Morgana. Morgana doesn't care about Naked Snake or Metal Gear Solid.
I mean, no.
Unless your husband played those games and you watched them.
No, he has. I don't think he has. I haven't watched them anyway.
Okay. Yeah, we're starting a little later. We have a lot of things to talk about, so we're gonna skip email this week, and we're gonna move right into some what you been reading. So let's throw to Morgana first. Did you read anything this week besides our Twipple Dip stuff?
No, but I do have something funny I want to tell you guys that's relevant. So my husband and daughter are in California this weekend. I'm home. My mom's staying with me in case I go into labor. And they're staying at this cabin, and my husband sent me a photo of, when you like go to an Airbnb, they have like books around that you can read or whatever, like just like somebody set it up so that there's like, and usually it's like old romance novels or like mystery paperbacks or whatever. On the shelf in this Airbnb is Volume 1 Berserk Deluxe Edition.
Nice.
Which is like the weird, and it's in among like, like a Lonely Planet Caribbean like guide, and like, there's like the weirdest like arrangement of books, and in the middle of all of this is like Berserk, and I was like, that is an interesting and strange thing to leave in your Airbnb for strangers to just pick up and read.
Kind of heavy
funny.
reading.
We just had some questions thrown at us on Twitter asking if we'll ever do a retrospective on Berserk.
Yes, it was very interesting timing. I wouldn't mind I have not read Berserk. And as much as I like to complain about the bros who always say Berserk is the best shit in the world, I am interested in reading it.
I think it's good for a Psycho selection because it's not finished yet. Our retrospectives, we always want to do a finished series so we can read the whole thing. Plus, it's so long. I don't think it's
so
really
long.
appropriate for us. We'd be covering it for like, maybe in the future. We also that thing's only in print; it's not digital, so
Yep.
that will also take some planning and time, like we had to with the Planet Test one. So. There is something we might be doing when Morgana comes back after maternity leave, which people will be excited about. But I'll just tease that for now.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know, I totally forgot, but that's okay. We'll talk about it later.
I wrote it in our super secret chat.
Oh, right.
Okay, cool.
That's funny, Morgana, though. I was thinking, Morgana was like, when you've been to Airbnb, I've never been to Airbnb myself.
Usually these days when we travel, which has not been much lately, we end up going that route. I have mixed feelings about Airbnb as a concept, but it is very convenient in many ways. But frequently, it's just like going to like a bed and breakfast, or like a renting a cabin or something. When you go to, I don't know, I've never rented a cabin, but like. They have stuff around for the guests to read or to use, and that was just the weird. That I think is the weirdest thing I've ever seen at an Airbnb. I've never seen any manga, and not only is it manga, it is like the really expensive collector's hardcover of a really hyper violent dark fantasy series.
Yeah.
And like you don't know the people who are renting your home for the for the weekend or whatever. Like it's very interesting.
That manga opens with Guts having sex with a lady who turns into a demon.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but I'm not surprised to hear that. Like I kind of assumed that kind of shit went down in Berserk.
That's classic like Conan the Barbarian shit. Like,
Right.
fuck this thing, then kill this thing. You know.
So yeah, kind of a weird thing to have, and like just around. I just love the thought of somebody there with their like tween, and their tween's like, "Oh, sweet manga," and like picks it up and is like destroyed. Like, oh no, they've been exposed.
Or he just goes to school and starts carrying out on a giant bench and starts attacking his fellow students.
Maybe. All right, let's move along from Morgana then. Seamus, you read anything this week?
Nope.
All right. You were busy moving, right?
Yes, I read a rental agreement. There you go.
It sounds like Seamus's new place is treating him well. He's got his bachelor pad all set up.
Yep, I just need furniture.
Not in a bachelor pad. Who needs
Yeah.
furniture? You sleep on a mattress on the floor.
All right, let's move along to Darfox then.
Oh boy, do I got a lot. So I've been sick this past week, and I'm still not quite over it, but I am better. So I was home from work for 3 days. So basically, I spent those 3 days watching anime and playing some games. We usually with our friend Lanny Boat, who he's featured in a couple of YouTube channels. So if you've seen our content on YouTube, you've seen him. Young kid, young Mexican kid. He's a lot of fun to talk with.
You say young, he's not like a teenager or anything. He's like
no, but I'm
almost graduated college at this point. So yeah,
I met him when
young in 20s.
I met him when I was a teenager. Weird story. I met him, met as your online friends. You meet them. I was streaming Metal Gear Solid 3, in fact. And he showed up on my Twitch chat, and ever since we've been online buddies. And at that time, I think he was still like in high school or something. He was really young when we first started talking to Lightning Bolt.
So you're grooming him.
Yeah, it was to the point to the point where I felt a little weird. I was like, I don't know if and then I don't know if it was Dakuzu or somebody else, but they invited him to our old Mumble server where we used to talk, and I was like, this feels kind of weird because he's a young kid, but like, I mean, whatever. He's cool. He made friends with some of the other people on there, and he's part of our little group of online friends that we revolve around. But yeah, so where to start? We watched a couple of stuff. So we haven't finished, but we started watching My Love Story or Ore Monogatari. I've seen it before a couple of times. This is probably the third time I've watched it, so I'm pretty sure at this point I can safely say it's one of my favorite anime series ever. I just like it a lot. It's really comfy. It really get all the like little emotional beats really get to me really easily. And Lenny both enjoying it, but I'm definitely the one who likes it most. Like I'm super invested in the episode, even though I've seen it before. And Lenny both like, oh yeah, that's cool. The other one that we watched and we finished, Lightning Bolt was way more into this one, was Prison School.
You guys were watching the dub, which it had nonsense in it.
Yes. So Lightning Bolt doesn't mind dubs. I think he usually watches in Japanese, but he does watch some dubs. And I'm not like super militant about dubs either. I'm fine with a dub as well. So I put it on dub just to try it out. And I knew there was some weird liberties in the dub for Prison School, mainly with Andre. They changed his voice and give him like a weird, I don't even know what to describe it.
I talk like this.
No, I mean he kind of sounds like he's like he's like the Adam family's butler or something. Like, not actually. I know the Adam family's butler is like the big guy, right? But like he has like a weird like sinister mousy voice. Almost sounds like a Meatwad from Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Yes, it's fucking weird.
It
was a weird choice.
It's a weird choice. Overall, I thought the dub was good. Like, Prison School is so stupid. It's so ridiculous. and part of the entertainment is that like they take it they they take these stupid ideas and things and play it so straight, play it so seriously, and the dub did that really well. The dub has the actors just like really committing to these stupid things that they're saying. There's not a lot of like winking and nodding, because that would have killed it, right? They just play it straight like they're supposed to, and it's pretty effective. It works out. Um, but man, so if you go on Crunchyroll right now and you watch Prison School on Crunchyroll, that is not censored at all. There's titties, nipples, everything. I was shocked. I think the first time I saw it was when it was being simulcasted, so it was like the TV broadcast. So they had like the shadows and the shining and everything covering up the nipples and stuff. My God, that show is so pornographic. It is crazy. I know I'm saying something obvious, but like um one of the ongoing gags in the show is I think her name is Mako, which is the vice president. If you've seen anything about Prison School, you've seen her because she's like the really big like titty dominatrix woman.
Oh yes.
Morgana works for Yen. She knows.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a spin-off manga about her.
Really?
Yeah, student council vice president does her best or something like that. Yeah.
I might have to look that
It
up.
it might be digital only.
Okay.
I can't remember, but yes, I know exactly who you're talking. Does she have like white hair and glasses?
Yes. Like
Yeah.
like silver
Yeah.
hair.
Yeah.
One of the ongoing gags with that character is that she's always like working out, doing squats or something in the background. So people are having just like totally normal conversations or boring conversations, but the camera keeps cutting to her from a POV on the floor from her butt and crotch like coming at your face over and over again, and she's really sweaty and they animate the sweat. Like it's actually kind of gross when they add like this, they add like a sweat sound effect. So when she starts sweating, you hear this weird like oozing, squeezing noise, which obviously doesn't happen when you actually sweat, but it was actually kind of disturbing sometimes. But like as the show goes on, the excuses for her to be like working out or doing something random that's sexy like become flimsier and flimsier. That's part of the joke. There was a scene towards the end of the show where they're having a party because they thought they had succeeded in their plan. And she's like, let me provide the entertainment. I will do pull-ups while you all drink and eat. And she's just doing pull-ups in the background for no fucking reason. So like all that stuff is just like really, really funny. But also just like as gratuitous as you could possibly imagine. That is the Prison School like formula. It's just like ridiculous things that are played straight and taken to the most gratuitous level. And it was a lot of fun watching it with Lightning Bolt because he I guess he didn't know much about Prison School. He knew what it was generally, but he was continually surprised by all the fun twists and stuff. Characters like Hana, who's like the girl who knows martial arts. She's like the tomboy character. She has like this whole, I'm gonna call it a rivalry. That's not what it really is, but like this whole entwinement with Kiyoshi, the main character, and urine and voyeurism is really out there. But all that stuff just comes out of nowhere, and hearing Lightning Bolt react to it was really, really funny.
In our chat, we have Tyler and Chris from Canada, and Chris from Canada says that the Prison School dub is amazing.
I think Chris from Canada is a dub person, so that does not surprise me.
Chris is asking if you've read the manga. And
yes,
that's like Dar what you've been reading in the early years of Manga Machinations was nothing but like, I read the newest chapters of Prison School. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Mono no horny. I sent you the link to Shadow's student council vice president gives her all, by the way, on Young Press. It's in our super secret chat over here.
What? This cover is
I know.
Absolutely crazy. And Dar, you cannot cut to this.
I'm not gonna cut.
You cannot cut to this.
For my eyes only.
Big old titties.
Okay.
What? Where are her nipples? What?
They're right there tucked in.
They're tucked. Yeah.
What? That's
She must have very tiny nipples. This is the only thing I can conclude. This is the case with a lot of like ecchi and hentai stuff when they're spilling out of their clothes and you still can't see their nipples. I'm like, where are they? Must just be very small and like not pink. like where are they hiding? Like
What's funny though, Morgana, we might have got you a sale because the anime does not finish the storyline, like not even close. It finishes like the first part of it. And so LB was like, "Damn, we're one season 2." I was like, "I don't think they're making season 2. It's been a long time." And Prison School Anime had like a really unique story for its production. It was kind of a prank that got out of hand, and then they
yes,
ended up.
that's exactly what it was.
Yeah. Douglas, do you mind explaining it? Because actually, it's really funny.
Basically, the anime production was like, wouldn't it be funny if we could make an anime of this? And they took it to Kodansha Publishing because it ran in Young Magazine. And Young Magazine editorial was like, yo, this is so funny. Wouldn't it be funny if like this became an anime? And they kept getting pushed up until the point they were like, I guess we have to make it because we've proceeded with the plans too much.
It came up often enough and they did enough work on it that it was like, at this point, it'd be like lost production if we didn't actually do it. That's funny. So like I was basically telling Lanny boy, like I don't think they're making another season of this. So he's like, all right, I might have to read that manga. So like, we got one more sell for the Prison School manga right there.
great. You know, Prison School is likely not my thing. I still have not read it despite working for Yen. It's likely not my thing. However, I will say, and we also publish Raw Hero, which is also Akira Hiramoto. His artwork is incredible, and I know I talk about Me and the Devil Blues all the time, which is his extremely unhorny, semi biographical tale of Robert Johnson, the jazz musician. But his art is gorgeous in Prison School as well, and in Raw Hero, his art is really really nice. It just also happens to be very horny. So, I you know if you're gonna consume it, I do recommend reading the manga.
Yeah, no, it's really good. And Morgana, I can definitely foresee Prison School not being for you. I think you could intellectually see like all the
Yeah.
good qualities from it if you tried reading it. But like I honestly I really don't. I don't think you'll find the same joy that Lanny Boy and Lanny Boy and I find in it.
I am not the target demographic, but
Morgana
it's
is not mono-horny like you
I
are.
am not. Well, not in that way. No,
No. Different flavor.
Yeah, it is. But no, but I can, and I guess it's just because I really care about Me and the Devil Blues that I even like feel like I can justify like the existence of Prison School. I mean, also, you know, I sell it.
Yeah.
But no, I do think it's something I can appreciate. I mean, it's. I always kind of prefer the idea of something horny when it's also like ridiculous and funny, as opposed to like playing it straight all the time. You know what I mean? So I can appreciate it conceptually. But yeah, I don't think it's for me.
All right. I'm done with Prison School, but I'm not done with my my anime adventure. Lanny and I were basically just going through Crunchyroll and trying to figure out shows we can watch and stuff that maybe we've started watching but we didn't finish. We tried Black Clover, and he was receptive to it. I had to like warn him over and over again that the start of the Black Clover anime isn't very good at all. But he seemed okay with it. We saw like the first 3 episodes, and we haven't gone back to it. So like it didn't really have that much momentum, especially compared to like Prison School or My Love Story. By the way, watching Prison School and watching My Love Story was nuts. These two are the most diametrically opposed like animes ever. Like My Love Story is so like genuine and romantic and like just a sweet wholesome story, and Prison School is just so much debauchery and just like terrible people being terrible pieces of shit at each other. That's just what Prison School is. So like those two had really good momentum. Like it was easy to watch the next episode. Black Clover, like while watching the first 3 or so episodes, like again, Neighbor was receptive to it, and he knows like we really like it, so like he's kind of interested in it. But I mean, that anime it's a rough anime, especially at the start. They didn't do that series much favors with that. I'm actually surprised looking back on it that it actually like, it became popular. It was a pretty popular anime overall.
Dar, did you see the news that the movie is coming to Netflix?
Yeah, soon, right? Is that June?
Yeah, June. Yeah, late June.
Like we no news for this movie for like a long time, and all of a sudden it's coming out in a few weeks. So that's pretty exciting. I hope it's a good movie. Like I hope it looks good. The anime was never a looker. Occasionally they have a couple episodes that look nice, but it's always one of those like cheap production animes. So I'm hoping it's a real nice looking movie. I'm very excited. I'm hyped.
The manga's doing real bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, the manga is like super hiatus did, right?
Well, I mean, so is My Hero, and so is One Piece, and so is everything else that's popular in Weekly Shonen Jump right now. They're taking multiple breaks. But like, unlike My Hero, which is still very popular, Black Clover is now at the end of the magazine, kind of consistently.
What are you gonna do? Is that nepotism?
I mean, I doubt they'll cancel it before they let it have its full run and ending, because it's in the final stage right now. They're doing the final fight, so I think it'll be fine, but just kind of a bum for a series that was so popular that kind of dropped off.
Chris from Canada in the chat telling us that Darren Lightning may like Konosuba.
Also published by Yen Press.
Lightning loves Konosuba, and he's actually maybe watched the first like 5 or so episodes. I'm okay with it. I'm down to watch more. It seems similar to Prison School in the sense that like the main characters seem like bad people. It's just like bad people, and they're just kind of being cruel to each other. I guess that's part of the. That's part of the humor is that you think that it's an RPG party and they have that solidarity that an RPG party has, but no, they're all like kind of exploitative and they're all after their own gains, which is funny. Yeah, I'll go back to that eventually because Lightning Bolt really likes Konosuba. He likes
Lightning Bolt is young, so it makes sense. That series is targeted toward like middle schoolers, so.
Yeah,
he's not that young.
Yeah, no, he's not. he likes that whole like there's a franchise of isekai light novels that are all interconnected because I think the authors know each other, which is it's Konosuba, Overlord. Am I crazy about this?
Are you talking about Isekai Quartet?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Saga of Tanya, I think.
Yeah, Saga of Tanya. I think
RE0. Yeah.
All published by Yen Press.
Well, you know who's a big fan of Yen Press, right? Lightning Bolt.
Oh, well, thank you.
Get all your middle school entertainment from Yen Press. Read those light novels.
And, other entertainment, too.
All kinds of entertainment for all kinds of interest.
But we do have all the Isekai Quartet titles.
Yeah, so he's a big fan of that, like, interconnected universe. So, and I've said before that I watched Overlord with him, and I ended up really liking Overlord. By the end, Overlord is also a really weird show. Just a lot of weird morality in it. Like, again, there's no real good. The good guys are actually bad guys. They're warlords. They're like evil people. But yeah, Chris Konosuba is kind of like in the back burner, kind of. Well, I'll get back to it eventually. The last anime that I have to talk about is after kind of like browsing Crunchyroll enough and kind of like looking at stuff and not really being that enticed by stuff, I said, hey, why don't we just jump to Netflix? And in Netflix, Netflix has tons of animes. They had JoJo. I had stopped my JoJo Bizarre Adventure watch at part 4. Diamond is Unbreakable, I think it's the name of the part.
Yes.
And I remember the specific episode I stopped. There was an episode early on where they go to a restaurant and there's like a chef.
What?
Yeah.
It's one of the best episodes.
I haven't seen almost any JoJo, and I think I've seen this episode, or have been made to watch this particular part that you may
yes,
be mentioning.
because he's Italian, right?
Yes.
Yes. Um, it's a cute episode. At the time, I think I was kind of just burnt out a little bit. And the thing about part 4 is you have to.
It's long.
It's long, and you have to buy into the bizarre adventure because Stardust Crusade is like one of the most popular parts of JoJo. It's like the most iconic part of JoJo, and that one has a lot of individual adventures, but it also has the main trek to find Dio and fight Dio. Right? It has that thrust. Whereas part 4, I finally just started seeing what the main thrust is. There is a main villain in part 4, but up to that, it was like episode 15 or something that finally appeared. Before that, it was literally just kids hanging around in a town and weird shit started happening. It was a bunch of bizarre adventures, that's obviously what I'm there for in JoJo. But it took a while for there to be something else. So I think at the time I just got kind of burnt out. But going back to it, it's been a lot of fun. JoJo, man, like. It's a Rocky, right? That's the manga's name.
Yes,
that guy's so creative. He's nuts, man. And I know, like, this obviously isn't the last part of JoJo. There's a lot more JoJo to come after this. I don't know how I could keep coming up with characters and powers and stuff because, like, we were introduced to Rohan. He's one of the main characters in this part, and he's a mangaka. So, like, it's a funny, like, self-insert because Rohan starts like ranting about what it means to make good manga and stuff, and it's clearly a Rocky talking about it. But he's basically saying stuff like manga needs realism. No matter what the manga is about, it needs realism, and that's why you need to research stuff and read stuff. It's kind of the same thing Tatsuki Fujimoto said about input and output. You need output to have, or you need input, like reading movie or watching movies, reading books and stuff, so you could output manga. This Rohan character was saying that, like, oh, you need to research this stuff and learn about this stuff so that you can add that realism to your manga. And then you think back to all the random ass shit in JoJo when one character starts talking about beetles and how beetles have this kind of metabolism. You're like, wait, why the fuck are these JoJo characters talking about beetles? You know, Araki wrote that shit at some point and he put it in the fucking manga because that's like his old shit, right? He's always fucking looking at stuff and learning new minutia and weird like trivia and creating villains out of it or creating like dire situations out of it. And it's just really funny how this character, by the way, his stand power, I forget what the name of it was, but really cool image and body horror where he basically turns you into an open book and the characters' faces would peel off like a book and there'll be like book pages behind their faces. And he'd read you like a book and he would have your whole life story. And he would do that to write his manga. He's kind of like he's introduced as a villain, but I think he eventually becomes one of the main like good guys. But he's very voyeuristic, where he uses his power to read about people's lives and includes that in his manga. So he has like this obsession about people's lives and people's most private things. He wants to see it, and like just great ideas, great images, and body horror. Just top notch stuff. Like I'm saying obvious things again, things we all know, but man, that Araki guy is just like really talented. It's nonsense to me that he could be drawing JoJo for so long and make it still good. It's nuts to me.
It's funny that Dar's saying this when he's in the middle of part 4 and there's like we're up to part 9?
I know, bro. I know, and even if they go downhill, I know there's still fans of these parts, right? It's not like, it's not like the manga got canceled or anything. It's still going. People still like it.
Manga's going right now. The JoJo Lands takes place in Hawaii.
I'm sure you love that one.
Well, you know.
So that was my anime odyssey. I think I talked about everything we watched.
You didn't talk about Mahjong Soul. We've been playing Mahjong.
Oh, well, before I talk about Mahjong Soul, I'm going to talk about Outlast Trials.
Oh,
So
God.
so Lightning Bolt's a big fan of the Outlast games. These are horror games, they're like first person perspective, and they're those type of games where you can't fight your enemies, you have to run and hide. Which I don't always like those games. Because I feel like the gameplay can be kind of punishing sometimes. Because if you didn't run fast enough or hide in the right spot, then you had to redo the section. It becomes kind of trial and error sometimes with those games. um, but he's a big fan of those games, and a new one came out called Trials, which is like a multiplayer game. So he actually bought it for me. So thank you, Lightning Bolt. It was a selfish buy because he wanted me to play with him, and I
Oh,
did.
it's like what I do with the games I get you. I'm like, Dar, I buy you a game, play this with me.
Yes, pretty much. So it's not too bad, right? But no, Outlast Trials was really, really good. I highly recommend it if you're into like horror games, but also co-op games. You know, like it's pretty scary. Especially if you don't like people chasing after you in games and stuff like that. But because you have other people you're playing with, there's a lot of options you could do. You can distract enemies and get them off your friends back. And this game actually does give you a couple of gadgets you can fight back with. Like you could put Lightning Bolt has a mine, and the mine like explodes in the gas and blinds the enemy and stuff like that. And you level up your character, so these gadgets become stronger, and your character becomes stronger. You get more abilities, so it's really good. We played a lot of that, and he finished it because it's early access, so it only has like 3 levels, but it's quality over quantity kind of thing, because the levels are really replayable. They're meant to be replayed multiple times because the puzzles are mixed up and randomized every single time. Same type of puzzle, but different kind of solutions. It's really well done. So recommendation for all that Trials if it's kind of like in your wheelhouse. So we played a lot of that too. And then, I guess we play some Mahjong afterwards, right?
We played Mahjong.
Specifically,
Our-
Mahjong Soul is the website.
Yeah,
right?
Mahjong Soul, recommended to us by our listener,
Infinite Meat.
Infinite Meat. You met Infinite Meat, Morgana.
We did, yeah.
Yep.
Dar and I both did.
We sure did, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I also want to get on Mahjong with you guys, but I have not yet. Maybe once my maternity leave starts.
Oh, yeah.
And I have-
Oh, yes,
And I'm
yes,
and
yes.
I'm up at strange hours feeding a baby.
Oh, hell
Listen-
yeah, yes.
Listen, we played a game yesterday. We finally got Dark Fox to like make his account, and like Lightning Bolt and I, and fourth player was AI. And that was a crazy game that lasted over an hour.
Yeah,
Dar
yeah.
won. Dar won even after he was like, "I'm confused. Please look at my screen and give me advice."
Well, ultimately, didn't I not win? I thought you won at the end.
No, you won. You won with that last hand. And it was funny because you literally revealed what your winning tile was. And I was like, I'm not throwing that tile anymore, Dar.
I got something else, yeah.
But Lightning Ball had called Ricci, so he had to discard whatever he got, and he got your winning tile, so you won.
Yeah, Mahjong, I mean, it's not like the hardest game ever, but there is a lot of rules. There's a lot of stuff you gotta learn, and
Yeah, well, you have to know like the suits, right? Like the pairs,
Yeah.
and Koi Koi is similar with Hanafuda cards, where you have like sets of things that will get you points, and you have to remember what the sets are and what what number of points. That's why I always play like on an app or something. I'm like, you do all the adding.
Don't worry about the points. I don't know about the points either.
Yeah, you do all the adding. I just want to play.
Just play with a group of friends, be in voice chat, and yell at each other about. Darfox kept throwing the white dragon and be like, I'm Walter White. So
yeah, because it says WH and it looks like a periodic table because it's a capital W and a lowercase h. So I started calling it Walter White for some reason. I don't know. Sometimes
make up our own dumb comments about things.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Sometimes when you're playing games and it's like past midnight, you're basically just drunk and you just saying goofy shit.
It's fun times. Mahjong Soul. Yeah, like maybe we'll get a league started. Looks like Marion also plays.
Yeah,
so.
Marion plays, and we should try and get Infinite Meat on it.
Like a bunch of little old Jewish ladies playing mahjong. Apparently, it's very popular with the elderly Jewish crowd.
All right, Dar. That was a lot. Is that it?
No. No, that is it.
Okay.
I could talk about my Diet Coke can, as you can see on stream.
See, you know,
not sponsored.
Chris from Canada was like, "Why are you guys skipping email?" I was like, "Dude, now you know why."
I was
And
sick.
I still have to go.
I was sick, and I just had a bunch of anime to watch and games to play with Lanny Bo. Lanny Bo, thanks for keeping me company when I was sick. And Dr. Z, you
Hilarious.
too. You helped me out too.
Yep, of course. I just shot Dar over to a link because I have also been watching stuff. I've been watching live action drama adaptations of manga stuff.
Oh, fascinating.
My wife and I started watching The Full-Time Wife Escapist.
Okay.
Dar, does that link work?
Yeah. I'm gonna put it up on stream. You're gonna see everything in Spanish because my Netflix account is set to Spanish.
Mine's set to Japanese.
Yeah, we're the international crew over here. You know, Seamus, he's Ireland, but he's in the States now. It's all good. So,
you know, it's funny, Dar. This has Spanish subs, so you could watch this with your parents if you wanted.
You know what? My dad has actually watched a few Asian dramas, usually K dramas, I think. There's one about like a lawyer, like the young lawyer. I think it's a Korean drama. He's watched that one. Randomly, I never asked him. I think just Netflix eventually pushes the shit to you, so that he just clicked on it and eventually started watching it with my mom. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. This might happen. So
nice.
I opened up the web browser, so now you're seeing the preview in the background for Esposa a tiempo completo, which just means like a wife, like full-time wife, basically.
Yeah, even in the Japanese, it says "we married as a job" in English, which is kind of the theme of a full-time wife escapist. This is the one that has the super famous "I dance" at the end credits. The main guy is played by Gen Hoshino.
That's Ken Hoshino right there.
Yeah, the pop singer.
Handsome boy.
Also featured in Death Stranding.
Yes.
But yeah, we've read this manga before. Morgana, you've read this before.
Yeah, the first one, I think.
Yeah, and you know, we started watching, and my wife was getting real annoyed about a lot of misogynist shit because there's a lot of misogynist shit in this series. So, but she did end up liking the first episode, so we'll be watching more of that. And I think this Japanese drama is well done. I like Gen Hoshino. I like the main actress. So I did not realize she's wearing a wig, and my wife is like, "No, that's totally a wig. You can't see the hairline." I was like, "Damn, my wife really knows wigs." But the other thing we've been watching is we've been watching this using a VPN. Dar sent you a link over to What Did You Eat Yesterday? The live action drama. You need a Japanese VPN to watch this on Netflix, but it's great. The funny thing is, when my wife and I took a trip to Japan, this was actually premiering, and we were actually watching it on her laptop in Japan. I was trying to like subtitle it for her, but even though it's only available in the Japanese Netflix, it has English subtitles, so now she can watch the whole thing, and she loves it. She loves it, man. Those two actors who play like Shiro-san and Kenji are so good and so funny. It's great. And I didn't know, but Dar has it up on the stream right now. Season 2 is happening this fall, so they're going to be making more of this. That's Dar just clicked on the thing for the theatrical version because they had a movie that also came out.
It's the same show though, right? Same cast and everything?
Yeah, it's like a continuation from like the TV show. The movie covers more stuff from the manga. They added like a new original character that shows up as like a potential love interest for Kenji, and Shiro's like, "I'm the jealous one."
Is the guy with the hat supposed to be gay?
That is the owner of the hair salon that Kenji works at.
Okay.
I think that the guy to the right of that is the new hot guy that is like possibly luring Kenji away from Shiro.
No, it cannot be.
It's good stuff. It's a funny show. My wife really likes What Did You Eat Yesterday, so I'll be watching that whole show with my wife. Yeah. The guy who plays Kenji is absolutely amazing. Wonderful actor.
Somebody bring this over.
I know, right?
Morgana wants to watch.
Morgana, you can watch Full Time Wipe Escapist. That is
That's true.
available,
That's true. But I want to watch this.
I know, right? This is really good. I don't know why it's not available. Okay, let me talk about some manga next. What do I want to do? Okay, we'll talk about この世界は不完全すぎる. I shot Dar Fox a link over to the series over that's available on Comic Days. That's where it's serialized. And oh shoot, I shot you a link to chapter 76. Hold on. Dar, use that one. That will be chapter 1. So the English title for this series is Quality Assurance in Another World. So this falls under the genre of we're stuck in a video game. Kind of like, well, you have like Sword Art Online that's really famous for this genre.
Mm-hmm.
But with Sword Art Online, that's players who are stuck in that world. I don't know. I've never seen Sword Art Online, so
Yeah.
Darfox, help.
Yeah.
I believe that's correct.
I haven't seen it either, but yeah, it's players who are stuck inside the video game. Yeah.
I have seen Sword Art Online, and yes, that is true.
Okay.
Also published by Yen Press.
So this series
We've got
is
them all.
This series is Quality Assurance. So the main characters here, they are actually debuggers who have been stuck in this game for a year. And they can't get out, and they don't know why.
Oh, interesting.
And the main character is still trying to debug the game and doing these things. In the first chapter, Dar that is flipping through, like, he's trying to go through an event where a giant monster attacks his village, and there's this NPC girl that befriends him. Yeah, you see that page right there where he's writing down, like, you know, bug notes.
That's a bug sheet, yeah.
Yeah, and he's the only one who's still trying to debug because all the other debuggers have basically accepted that they're stuck here. And they're starting to do some crazy shit. Like, have slaves and stuff, so it's wild stuff. This falls under, like, that typical kind of, like, fantasy realm, but it's a video game, so...
Do you know these kind of isekai things? Do you know, what's that thing, it's a Godwin's Law, like, anytime an internet argument goes long enough, eventually someone brings up Hitler. With these isekai things, is it like, if an isekai series goes long enough, at some point someone's like, you know what, we need slaves.
Yep, that is very, very good. I mean, I've been reading this, and it's, you know, it's not that different from other stuff like Sword Art Online, but I just really appreciate the fact that it's all about bugs in video games. Like, Dar, at one point, they're being attacked by, like, mobs, and they're just, like, everyone's just in a T-pose. All the enemies are just running around attacking, but they have the T-pose, like, in the video game where they're stuck.
Is that in this chapter?
It's not. It's in the newest chapter,
okay,
so don't click on that. But it's just really funny. Dar just pulled up like a big monster that attacks his village, and the debugger, he fights it, but like he's a thief class, so he doesn't have any big spells. And also, this is supposed to be an event that you can't win, and so he prepared like 100 explosive barrels. He drops the barrel from a cliff where the monster is coming from below, and the monster gets stunned, and then he shoots a couple arrows at it. It's basically the equivalent of killing the dragon in Demon Souls with 100 arrows very slowly over the course of like 30 minutes.
Nice, yes.
That's what he does. And he only did it.
Kinship with this character.
I do. And he only did it because all the villagers are supposed to get killed in the event anyway, so he needs to check to see if even if you kill the monster, which is very hard to do. And it takes him it takes him almost a whole day. He
turned the villagers into slaves then?
No, the villagers still burned to death. So.
Oh, boo.
Yeah, sad stuff.
As long as they suffer somehow.
It's listen, this manga is gonna get an anime show next year. So it's there's a very good chance we'll be seeing an English edition of this manga as well. It's pretty decent. I like the video game aspect. The main character meets other debuggers and kind of like ends up forming a party. At one point, they meet a person who's like their character graphic is missing, so they're just like a question mark, like polyhedron thing. That's their character because parts are missing, like in the game. It's just really funny how they keep incorporating like the fact that this is a broken game. In fact, the title "Kono sekai wa fukanzen sugiru" literally means this world is incomplete, representing the incomplete game. My only question with this series is, this guy has been stuck in this video game for over a year doing a debug. How has he not died in the real world? Like, how does that work?
Well, sometimes
Like
they're in a coma.
you don't die in the video game and you don't die in real life. There you go, mind over matter.
They're not getting any food or nutrients. Like,
Yeah, but they're eating in the video game, Doc, because are they not?
I mean, they are eating in the video game.
There you go. So, like, the body doesn't know any different.
Well, maybe somebody found them and hooked them up to like they took them to the hospital and they're like in a coma.
Possibly. It's just a big mystery about why they're stuck in the world and why
Well,
they
that's
haven't
like-
gotten a response from like the developers.
That's what happened, in Uncle from Another World. He's like in the hospital, right, when he wakes up.
Yeah, that's usually the trope or the way they visualize that is that they're usually in the hospital and then they wake up from the game, maybe.
And someone tells them Jean-Claude Van Damme has murdered their family.
Or it tells them that Sega no longer makes video game consoles, and then they're sad.
Yeah.
Good old Uncle from Another World.
Hey, what's the Jean-Claude Van Damme reference?
The last Universal Soldier movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I didn't watch that one.
Nice. Yeah, I've been reading this series for a while, and I think it's pretty good. The anime is going to be coming out next year. I wanted to bring it up. Talk about those debugging jokes. In the second chapter, Dark Fox, he's traveling with that NPC girl in this first chapter. And he's like, okay, I arrived at a new town. Time to debug. And he literally starts like running against a wall. Because he's trying to see if he can like squeeze through the wall in any kind of way.
If you could clip through it, yeah.
Yeah, if you can clip.
That's funny.
It's good stuff. I appreciate all the video game references. I get those.
He should get a gun and aim it down and walk backwards and see if he pushes his body through the wall that way.
Is it a popular speedrunning tactic in video games?
In Resident Evil 4 remake, you could just push your body through doors. Because when you and you can visualize this, if you aim a gun and you look down, you kind of hunch your back, kind of down.
Oh, it makes your model smaller or something?
It kind of pushes like the center of your character is technically where the gun is, but your body gets pushed back. So like the body is further back than usual, so you can just push it back outside of like through doors and stuff.
Video games are wild.
Yeah. The fact that there's any functioning video game is always a miracle to me because it's just so easy for there to be so much bugs and stuff.
Yep. And so there you go. A manga about being stuck in a unfinished RPG. Kono sekai wa fukanzen sugiru. Quality assurance in another world. Hopefully it'll get the manga back bump.
Oh yes. Speaking of which, do we have one for Chris this week?
Oh yeah, Chris from Canada was posting about how we had a bunch of chai lattes and he really enjoyed them.
Yeah, well, we asked him to bump one of them, but he bumped like a bunch of them, so.
I mean, it's hard to go wrong with some chai. As a tea lover, I'm very pleased with this character growth.
Morgana, you got something you think is doable for Chris for the manga back bump?
Oh gosh. Oh, why'd you pick on the pregnant lady? I don't have any brain power right now.
I figure I'd give you a chance before you go on maternity leave.
No,
Something to eat, something. We've been doing mostly food stuff, so if you have
Yeah,
something that's
yeah.
not food related.
Try donating to a local charity.
yeah, I don't wanna put that kind of pressure on someone. Let me think. Oh, I know. Borrow something from your library. Borrow something from your local library. It can be digital, it can be like an ebook, an audiobook. You can go into your physical library and borrow something, or use your library services somehow and tell us about it.
Do they have libraries in Canada?
I'm sure they have libraries in Canada. In fact, I know they have libraries in Canada.
Okay, there you go.
Do they read books in Canada?
You might not notice, TCAF is actually organised by the library in Toronto.
Yes. I have been to that library in Toronto. It is very large.
Well, there we go. Borrow a book from the library. Manga Mac Bump this week.
And yeah, it's not just Chris. Anybody out there, go borrow a book from your library.
Support your, state or town-funded social service of free education for all.
Hopefully.
All right, let me knock out my last what you've been reading. I finished Parasite Reversi, everybody.
Oh,
Nice.
I did the 3-chapter slog every day on the K-Manga app.
You grinded it out.
I grinded it out yesterday. I knew I had to buy the final 3 chapters. I did not have enough points, so I actually spent some money on the K-Manga app. I paid $5 and got 499 points. They shorted me on a penny for a point.
it's the e-manga tax.
So guess what? On K-Manga, Parasite Reversi has 66 chapters. It's not the whole series.
What?
Whoa.
That's the worst case. That's the worst solution or conclusion to this.
They are missing the final volume, which I had to go over to Japanese Bookwalker and go buy so I could read it. Yeah, and guess what? Parasite Reversi, this guidance story taken out of Parasite by Moare Ota. It's pretty meh. It's pretty meh, everybody. It's not that
That's
great.
too bad. That's too bad.
I was hoping you'd be like, it's great.
No, it's it's disappointing on multiple levels now because the manga was kind of mediocre, and it doesn't really need to exist at all. It's kind of how I feel.
Does any manga need to exist? Do we need to exist?
Okay, yeah, more kind. We'll get into more of that with the Yokohama Kaidashi Kikou. But the thing is, this entire series is like a guidance story that's happening concurrently with the regular story of Parasite, right? It takes place in the same timeline. It stars the new character, the son of the mayor, who was an antagonist in the series. So much of Parasite Reversi spends its time being yo, that thing in the main story, it's happening right now. And characters are talking about, yo, this thing, are we planning this attack on the city center? It's yeah, we're totally planning it. And it cuts to a bunch of characters, and Shinichi's there, but it's always a shot of his back. And he's looking at Migi a little bit.
That's kind of funny.
It is kind of funny, but only kind of funny in it wasn't meant to be funny, Morgana.
But it's kind of
it's not
funny.
Intentional. Yeah. It's not, there's just nothing. It didn't really need to exist. I'm going to spoiler tag this conversation, because I need to talk about some certain events. In the main Parasite manga, there's a scene where the police and I think it's the Special Defense Force plan a raid on the I guess town hall where the mayor is.
Yes, the mayor's office. Yeah, probably the town hall.
And they set up this entire setup so they can hunt and kill the parasite. And at a certain point, everything breaks down and things go crazy, right? The entire setup for this Parasite Reversi is the mayor's son witnessed somebody murder his friends. They also introduce a girl that liked the mayor's son, and she's almost immediately killed off by the same killer. They never really get into what the motivations of this guy was, besides he was a human who was doing drugs, and then the parasite latched onto the arm that he was doing drugs, so the parasite's on him is addicted to drugs, which he just asks. He's the parasite says happy. That's what he calls the drug that you can get.
The real monster is drug abuse.
I don't know. It's like it's a small scale altercation going between the human with the parasite arm that's been killing people randomly, and he's in the background of the parasite story while like the raid is happening. This guy has gotten human followers to help cause Armageddon.
Wait,
And these human
Armageddon?
I didn't even think of that.
Lol.
Okay, that wasn't intentional, did I?
Listen, so this guy gets a bunch of human followers to follow him, and they go around the town. There's even one guy in the city hall. They have bags with cyanide gas in them. And so while the raid was happening in the main story, they were going to release cyanide gas in the background and kill a bunch of humans and parasites alike just to cause like massive chaos. Of course it doesn't happen, they defeat the bat guy. And it's just really funny because I don't know if you remember, there's a scene where when the police are hunting inside the town hall and they have all the people on the ground, there's a parasite that gets up and grabs a human and tries to use it as a human shield and run away, and they both get blasted. That human that got blasted was actually one of the followers that was about to release cyanide gas.
No, that's very cheesy. That's very.
It is cheesy, and that's kind of what this series was. It's just, the struggle for the main character was he knew his father was, in cahoots with these parasites, and he couldn't. Does he reveal this to the police detective that's helping him or not? People are dying around him. What is the conflict that he feels? At the same time, he feels a murderous rage towards the person that killed his friends. It's unnecessary. We didn't need this story. I don't feel like it added any context besides having a couple more scenes of the mayor talking to the Goto parasite. The parasite made up of a bunch of parasites. It's kind of that kind of stuff. It's just unnecessary. Almost, you might call it cash grab, Dar. Cash grab. Trying to take advantage of like people who are into parasite. Hey, there's a new parasite. It got me to read the entire thing.
Got you to put down some money too.
I know.
That's how they get you.
But I guess I'm here to tell people that it's not. I don't think it's worth reading. I guess at this point. To be fair, I read most of it for free on the app. So
yes, since we're on K-Manga, do we want to briefly talk about the kind of some of the defense for K-Manga?
Oh, you mean the thing on Twitter that came out about how they didn't do a subscription model because if you do this model with individuals buying for each series, they get more residuals.
Yeah.
Oh, the artists do?
Yeah. It's the one subscription to access all makes it like click based and like view based, and like what the residuals get sent to the artist, whereas with like their ticket system is a lot more straightforward, and also their the way how they're opening up some series for free is kind of an attempt to try to kind of like give everybody a chance to kind of get some buzz, which I don't disagree with. I definitely think that a subscription service that has a ton of stuff does give you kind of like choice paralysis, and kind of like a lot of great series can fall by the wayside. I just feel like what they've talked about isn't maybe the final solution, or maybe I shouldn't use that phrase, but
yeah, I mean, I think obviously I'm in favor of the artists getting more residuals. That's a no-brainer. I think to me the issue is that it's just too complicated.
I agree.
Like as a consumer, so it almost makes you freeze and not buy or click anything because it's too complicated and there's too many rules.
Yeah, and if something feels exploitative, and I'm not sure if K manga is to the point where it feels exploitative, but if something feels exploitative, I don't think it's a fair defense to be like, oh well, it's going towards the mangaka. That's almost like that's very manipulative. Where like
Yeah.
you're exploiting and nickel and diming the reader. And if you don't agree with it, then I guess you don't like to get artists paid, right? I don't know if there's any of that context or that's trying to be communicated in any way. But I just feel like that was very interesting to hear that, to read that. It can still have a reverse reaction if an app like K Manga, it's so unfriendly for a newcomer and somebody who just wants to pick up a series. They know about a series, they heard about it, they saw a post about it on Instagram. However, people hear a buzz about a series, right? Oh, it's on K Manga. Let me download that. How do I read the series? What is this ticket? What is that? I
Right.
mean, like that could very easily have the adverse reaction or
Yeah.
effect.
That
And
sounds also worse because if you had a subscription and you had 100 chapter limit like the Viz or the Shonen Jump app, you have those extra, chapters, and then you'd probably be more open to reading something random. I got extra chapters I can read. Let me check out this thing I haven't heard about that much. If you're paying more money to access like the whatever on K Manga, I feel like the popular stuff will keep getting like all the money, and then all the random smaller stuff will just fall further to the wayside.
Yes, I definitely think that that's a potential phenomenon. But I do agree that like the subscription, like one payment for all, does have drawbacks. It's not perfect in and of itself.
yeah, yeah. But I will say, when I got Shonen Jump initially, I got it to read I think I mentioned this before, Kazuki Takahashi's latest thing at the time. And then Viz announced that they were doing the subscription of, I think it was $1.99 a month at the time. And I got grandfathered in and got a year free. So I had all this free manga, and I was like, okay, I'll check out things that I hadn't really thought about. So I read like the first chapter of Chainsaw Man at that point, and I read all of Muyo and Roji, which I don't know that I would
Yeah,
have necessarily picked up otherwise. Fucking
exactly.
loved it, you know what I mean? Because I didn't have to take a risk, it was very easy for me to consume something different and something new. So
Look what happened to me. I took the risk and I read Parasite Reversing, and the whole thing isn't even on the fucking app. What the fuck? And it
it's
doesn't say that, hey, this is unfinished. It's like,
it'll
what?
probably be there eventually.
I hope so.
Well, they did. I think they did say that more is coming out. Oh, that Viz definitely said that more was coming.
But are they even going to bother putting the final volume of Parasite Reversing on if it isn't making money? Maybe they'll look at the data and be like, this
Right.
doesn't make enough money, we'll never put out the final thing. Like, that's worse.
What if? And I don't think. Just thinking about this right now, it's probably not a good idea, but maybe there's a good idea somewhere in here. What if you in an app like K Manga that has so many different books from different magazines? What if you bought access to the magazine or to the collection, and maybe you had like a free ticket for a couple of the collections? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like, oh, if you buy the action set, then you get like Attack on Titan and whatever the heck, and or whatever, like compartmentalize it a little bit, or actually in this case it will be unifying a little bit, but like
Mm.
I don't know. That's just a random thought, but
I think that would be better, but it just seems like they're more set on doing campaigns for their, certain series, try to get some interest. Maybe then you'll eventually pay money to read that series. They already kind of like put their foot down. It's like, we're not doing this, subscription model, so I doubt that will happen. It's a bummer. But I don't know. Apparently, the
is
Manga app is doing better. So, go ahead.
I said chat's agreeing with Morgana. Chris says that they never would have read One Piece or Black Cat. Having them available like that is it's approachable.
Yeah. I mean, it's like how a lot of companies let you read like the first chapter, for free. Just kind of entice you, get you like, maybe you want to read. It's like when you go to the bookstore, the physical bookstore, right? And you pick up a book and you flip through it to decide if you're interested in it, right? And hopefully you don't sit there and read the whole damn thing like a child. We've all been there. But you want to look, you want to see what you're getting into before you spend your money, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's very normal. That's the way we've shopped for
on the
many
Manga
years.
app, you can read a couple chapters of the first couple chapters for free before getting into tickets. So
that is a good feature. I do think that is, I think you kind of have to. I don't want to buy things like sight unseen most of the time unless I know what it is already.
just don't split that first chapter up into 4 parts on Manga up and be like, hey, you can read 4 things for free. It's like, you bitch, you split the first chapter into 4 parts.
Yeah,
you lie.
That's horseshit.
Well, there you go. Yeah, so Parasite Reversing, I read it. And we talked about the K-Manga app. And that will be my What You Been Reading. So we should end and move along. I guess we bumped out some news too by talking more about the K-Manga app. Apparently Tyler really likes that Manga Up app because it's great for his Gundam manga. More power to you. Alright, before we get to our main segment, let's talk about next week. Next week, we're going to try something very different. I guess it's not that different, because technically we've done a little of this in the past, but we are doing a new type of episode called Left to Right. We're going to read some Western comics. I'm afraid. On this manga podcast, we're actually going to read some Western comics, which is an idea we've had for a little bit. And luckily, Morgana and Seamus have curated a list for us of things that should be interesting to read. So for next week, we'll be reading the first collection of Pretty Deadly. Which, Morgana, this was your suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the first collection of East of West, which Seamus thinks he read, but can't remember.
I did read. I just, having read it in its entirety, I'm not sure is it good or not. I'm just like, I think I'll have to reread it and then figure that out.
We need to have a discussion about it. Basically, we need to hash it out.
We will hash it out next week, and then the third pick, because we're trying to make this kind of like a triple dip. We have a indie comic called Ursula, which was Seamus' suggestion, by drawn by Erica Price and written by Lane Yates. So yeah, we're reading Western comics next week.
2 of which are actually also in the Western genre, as in cowboys.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I don't think we did that on purpose, but that's how it came out.
Tyler says we should read Saga. I don't think we'll do that.
I think we talked about Saga. Didn't you read like some of Saga years ago?
We did.
Yeah, I've read a fair bit of Saga, but I'm way behind.
Also, Tyler, I'm going to say I started reading Saga and I was like, much like East to West, I'm like, no, this is actually not good and I don't like it.
So there you go. Yeah, but next week, episode 1 of Left to Right will be about Pretty Deadly, East of West, and Ursula. So stay tuned for that. Okay, everybody, we've been going for a while. It's time to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll be doing a Twipple Dip. So stay tuned for that.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, everybody, we are back. The stream is back. We're back with our main segment here, a twipple dip. It's not a triple dip, it's a twipple dip. We're reading the next volume of something we've read before. And for this twipple dip, we're looking at volume 4 of Dar Dark, the second deluxe edition of Yokohama Kaidashi Kikou, and the chapters that would count as Chainsaw Man Volume 14. Volume 14 is not out in English, but the chapters are, so it would be chapters 113 through 122. You know, the last time we did a twipple dip, we also did Dar Dark and Chainsaw Man.
Yes.
They go together very well. And like
they do. Also, we want to read them and we want to talk about them. That's the thing.
But also, Yokohama Kaidashi Kikou is like a totally different vibe completely.
But it's also something we totally want to read.
Yeah,
Like at this point, twipple dip it's no longer just looking at a second volume of something that we did before. It's just like we want to keep reading Dar Dark and talk about Chainsaw Man. So, and also Yokohama Kaidashi Kikou. So
it's us time.
Yes, this is for us. And let's see. Last time I let Dar pick first and Morgana. So Seamus, I'm gonna let you pick first. Which of these three shall we talk about first?
Chainsaw Man.
All right, kicking off with Chainsaw Man. So hold on, I lost my link to Chainsaw Man, but yeah, Chainsaw Man Part 2 has still been going strong over on Jump Plus. You can read it on the Shonen Jump app, also on the Manga Plus app as well. Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, the chapters for Volume 14 are chapters 113 all the way to 122. I believe the tagline for Volume 14 of Chainsaw Man is, I wanna see a penguin. Which is exactly what happens here. We are following Asa as she goes on a date to the aquarium with Denji. And then hilarity ensues, but also they get trapped inside the aquarium.
Despair ensues, euphoria, hilarity.
Yes, it's a good arc with some good stuff happening. And kind of moving the story along, and then kind of ends on a cliffhanger with the start of a new arc and a new primordial devil. Seamus, what do you think about these chapters of Chainsaw Man?
I think the whole bit with her explaining the sea creatures.
The sea ammonies and then
Yes.
the starfish.
But like her whole approach in terms of being like, right, we're going to stand here for like 10 minutes, I'm going to say everything, then we're going here for 10 minutes.
No, it was 30 minutes with the
30
starfish.
minutes. But also like the way, like the kind of, you this big massive like word bubbles between her and Dingy. Showing her sheer like inability to actually connect with him over this thing. Like two people with two very different approaches to this. Neither of them been on a date before. Two totally different ideas of how it should go.
Could it be Asa? You're a total bore.
Right? If your war demon parasite is telling you that you're bad at dates, girl, you're bad at dates.
Yeah, I like these bit of chapters because you get to see more of Asa and like her flaws, and not just like the terrible stuff that happened to her in the past, where like, you know, we seen what happened to her mother and that storyline. Those aren't really character flaws. That's like terrible things that happened and she has guilt about. But you know, here she, you know, like the way, you know, how she thought that a date or preparation for a date would be like trying to out knowledge like aquarium employee or something like that. It's just like it's pretty funny, and it's a lot more down to earth and relatable, and it sets up a good dynamic with Denji because as the arc goes, like Denji and her are pretty similar in a lot of ways, but in this way in particular they're very very different. So that that contrast, that headbutting, it's pretty cute.
I know. I kind of ship it, guys. Like, I mean, I also think she's kind of, I don't know. I don't think I'd like her if I knew her in person. Like when we were reading earlier in this, in this arc, I was like, "Oh, Asa's so sweet. She's like a good girl and I like her." And now I'm like, she's kind of a dick, like in her own way. She's
Yeah.
kind of like a little bit dumb and a little bit like she
Stuck
kind of
up.
like doubles down on her, like, she knows she's right.
But you also wouldn't really like Denji in real life either.
Oh, not at all.
If you met Denji in real life, like, this is a shitty fucking brat. Who the fuck is this kid? Keep him away from,
Oh, did you guys see that? Did you guys? I think somebody posted a link to a CBR article in our in the Discord. It was like the characters in manga or anime that have like that ruin that I don't know, are unlike whatever, like they're the worst characters and they make everything else terrible. And number one on the list was Denji. And I was like, if you think Denji ruins Chainsaw Man, I think you don't understand Chainsaw Man. Like, I think you truly do not understand what this is about. And because he's annoying and he's immoral and he's whatever, he's amoral, really. Like, Chainsaw Man is really just like a love letter to Texas Chainsaw Massacre that happens to have a lot of big ideas. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, and I say this with love. Like, I do think it's a fun and brilliant series in many ways, but it's dumb. It's kind of a dumb series too. Like, that Denji is the point.
This is the reason why the anime director of season 1 is no longer going to be working on Chainsaw Man. You hear that news, Morgana?
I did not.
They had the big Chainsaw Man festival event a couple weeks back. It's I guess the head of Mappa Studios, or one of the heads up, one of the big ups or big hires or important people, talking about how Chainsaw Man was successful, but it didn't do the numbers that they were hoping for.
Weird.
I think there okay. I don't want to put. By the way, I just put up the panel or the page of Asa just like droning on and on about sea urchins and stuff. So y'all can read along as I speak, and make Asa happy that somebody paid attention to her spiel.
God, those fucking word bubbles.
I think that I really don't want to go into conspiracy theory and go into too much of like fan drama, but there was a lot of like pushback in Japan. The Japanese fan base, they didn't like the direction of season 1 of Chainsaw Man because it attempted to be kind of like more natural film like, and supposedly, I think we talked about this when Chainsaw Man was airing, the voice actors were directed to give a more natural performance as if it was a film as opposed to like a more anime performance. I did not pick up on that at all. It still sounded like anime to me. They still sound like anime characters. But there was blowback in Japan, and I think a lot of people see this as them basically capitulating to the hardcore fan base. Whom I disagree with a lot. I think they're off their rockers. So I don't know if that the whole like Chainsaw Man didn't do as well as we needed it to. That might be a cover story. I don't know. I find it hard to believe it didn't do well in as far as like the streaming numbers that it did here in the States. I could only imagine that was a success with the amount of buzz it had. But hey, I don't know. I'm not privy to those numbers. I'm not, yeah.
I will just say, I mean, I don't know about anime view numbers, and I don't know about them in Japan versus the US. But one thing I do see is manga sales in North America. And Chainsaw Man was already wildly successful, and it has not dropped in success since the anime aired. Quite the opposite. So I don't I have a hard time believing that it didn't drive, sales in some direction. I guess the question here is, are the people who are buying the US volumes consuming through streaming on like legal sites, or are they finding them elsewhere? But if they're buying the manga, I feel like they're probably also consuming the anime legally.
But I don't think, like, if they're buying the manga, that doesn't get back to MAPPA. Yeah, probably helps.
MAPPA
Yeah.
probably gets most from sales of Japanese DVDs or whatever.
Yeah, no, I realize that it has to do with, the manga sales are not the same, but I just think that if the manga has been doing very well, I can't imagine the anime isn't. You know what I mean?
I think it did well, Morgana. It just didn't do crazy numbers they were hoping for.
Is it because Japan relies on the whole otaku kind of structure, where they sell these expensive Blu-rays with few amount of episodes in them, and the people who would normally buy those were the disgruntled fan base that didn't like the direction of season 1?
Or maybe
that might be the rub. Again, it's just kind of like online nerd drama. I don't want to put too much stock in it. It may just be something simple as office politics and like, hey, we want to give somebody else a chance. Who knows? It bummed me out because even though I didn't like some of the directions season 1 had, I wanted to see that same art direction applied to season 2, because season 2 is where the Chainsaw Man story gets good. And I feel like season 1 was kind of like filling dead air a little bit, where they were stretching out.
Yeah, it's not that great of a section that season 1 anime covered.
Yeah, there's a lot of scenes that are prolonged too much. And that's the stuff I didn't like. And that worked for some people, I guess. It didn't really work for me. And I feel like that would have gone away in season 2, because there would have been too much stuff, too many action, too much character beats, too much setup. And, like the story goes to a faster clip in season, or what would have been season 2, or what will be season 2. So I'm definitely bummed out. I would have liked to see the same director tackle the material from season 2, but whatever. We'll see how that shakes on.
I heard talk about they were comparing it to Jujutsu Kaisen numbers, and I'm gonna say that Jujutsu Kaisen is a series that the anime did it so much goodwill, because the anime, I would argue the manga was not great, and thanks to the anime it gained popularity. But compared to Chainsaw Man was already great and super popular and well, critically acclaimed, and then the anime is not elevating Chainsaw Man so much, right? It's more trying to meet the expectations of what people wanted of Chainsaw Man, so it was naturally going to have a harder time. People hearing the hype was like, what is this Chainsaw Man thing everyone keeps talking about? And then they watch that slow moving first season, they're like, what the fuck is this? Maybe that's what happened. Dark Fox showing off his McDonald's fries on the stream as we talk about this. Pretty good. But anyway, let's get back to the actual chapters that we read. Seamus, besides the long-winded funny talks here in the aquarium, any other parts that you want to talk about?
I was reminded this came out in the 90s because they were like the prophecies of Nostradamus. Because I remember what I was reading about, but they were talking about how back in, I think, in the 90s, they got really popular in Japan.
Oh yeah,
I guess because of the whole Y2K thing, yeah. Oh yeah, that's a very 90s thing.
Yeah, and they were all surprised that Asa had a cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, you have a cell phone even though you're a teenager? And I'm like, doesn't every teenager have a fucking cell phone? I was like, oh right, it's the 90s.
Mm-hmm. Still the heyday of cellular phone technology. I'm tripping over my tongue. It's a shame we only got a tease about the next devil here at the end, Seamus. That's currently happening in the newest chapters right now, and it is some good stuff. Good stuff. Which I feel like we've always said as we've been doing more Twipple Dips, talking about the next parts of Chainsaw Man. Just stay tuned. It keeps getting better.
Well, actually, I did like how Asta's whole way of like beating the... It wasn't the Eternity Devil, what was it?
It was
It was the Eternity Devil.
or Infinity Devil. I forget what they're called. But
It's something like that.
It's the same devil from part 1 where they're in the hotel.
Yes.
The same devil.
But it's just being like, right, well, if I own it, then I can do what I want with it.
Mm-hmm.
Herb didn't like convince herself that's true. Then just the money thing. Oh, what did that remind? Fuck, that reminded me of something. Nah, I can't think of it. Oh, that was it. There was one other thing. That bit, like that final panel with all the people falling off the building. That's from something else. That's from like a movie poster or something, is it?
It's definitely a visual seen a lot in The Happening by M. Night Shyamalan.
Maybe that was it. Because I was looking at it, I was like, I've seen this before, but I couldn't think of it. I was like, okay, it must be from some movie, I'd say.
Yeah, wasn't that movie, the entire thing was like the plants were causing the wind to tell people to...
The plants were basically making pheromones and pollen to make people kill themselves, yes.
What a weird movie.
I have a love affair with that movie. It's not a good movie, but I think it's pretty neat.
Star Fox is just, mono no horny for Mark Wahlberg. Marky Mark.
No, I'm mono horny for M. Night Shyamalan. I'm a big M. Night Shyamalan apologist. I don't know if you know this about me, but I like pretty much all his movies, even like the really bad ones.
Did you see the newest one about the cabin?
No, I wanted to. I haven't. Just a lot of them I haven't seen. I haven't seen the beach one. I haven't seen the cabin one. Yeah, I'm behind on a few. I haven't seen Grandma's House. I think that's what that's called. I haven't seen that one either. But all the other ones, top notch. Peak cinema, as the kids say.
What?
Peak cinema. Peak kino. Yo, you never heard of this?
No, I remember when I was talking about it. I'm like an old man. I'm like, what? So. But yeah, let's turn to Morgana. Morgana, what did you think about these chapters for Volume 14 of Chainsaw Man?
Oh, I continued to enjoy them. I feel like they read so fast, and there was a certain, like, they're stuck in the aquarium and there's this Eternity Devil thing, and the time, I realized it wasn't supposed to be like a big drawn out battle or anything, but it was a little bit like, okay, nothing's happening. We're just kind of waiting here, which I know is like the point, but the last time there was the Eternity Devil, it seemed very intense, right? Like because Denji was fighting and whatever. But this is very different, and so I had a bit of a hard time caring about that part, I guess. Except that in it, it moved the story forward. Fascinated by Denji taking Asa to his home. And what ensued there.
Oh, with Nayuta.
And her whole character is very interesting and strange.
The new control devil.
Yes.
Her first appearance.
And
I guess second, like she was at the end of part 1, but yeah.
And she's getting in the way of my ship, so
Look, the only person Denji's having sex with is her, as far as she's concerned.
Yeah.
Grooming.
Wait, is it like reverse grooming though?
I was gonna say this is literally it is reverse grooming in this case. It's not Denji grooming her; she's literally grooming him, like or training him like you would a dog.
Yeah, yes. Exactly. She has not changed much, except that she's like a little bit childish now because she's an actual child.
Very bratty.
Yes,
very bratty, and seeking kind of like, I guess, like affirmation from Denji. She wants, like, I forget what Denji said was like, okay, you're number one, you come first, and she gave him like a very like angry like a peace sign, like you got you like you're damn straight kind of thing. It's very very funny, weird, funny.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about all that.
I-
I mean, I knew from day one that Makima was trouble, so I was like, uh-oh, here we go.
Someone should just redo. I don't know. Do you know the song "Daddy's Girl"?
Daddy's girl, no.
No. Okay, it's an American country song. It's I mean, just check up. Is it actually called "Daddy's Girl"?
Okay. Well, while Seamus checks that, let's talk a little about the new Kobeni.
Oh, the
Yeah!
brother of Kaveni?
Seems like a sibling of Kobeni from Part 1
Which
in the high school like Devil Hunter Club. He's freaking out. At one point, he's licking glass. That's pretty good.
it's like touching grass, but instead you're licking glass.
I was really going to say, forget about touching grass. Start licking grass, people.
They mentioned Kobeni's family before. Her parents make her work so she could put her brothers or her brother. I don't remember how many siblings she
Through
had.
college.
Through college, right?
I think there's multiple sisters and only mention of one brother.
So
But there could be multiple brothers, yeah.
So yeah. So this is pretty sure this is Kobeni's brother, younger brother. I think because he'd be in the same class as Denji, I think, or actually the same school, so he could be older than Denji.
And still just tiny and kind of like very similar to Kobeni. We don't even know like the lower name of like this sibling. What is Kobeni's name from Part 1? Help me, Google. Oh, Higashiyama is actually the surname, so it's Kobeni Higashiyama. So this is another Higashiyama sibling. You know, they mention, and this new Higashiyama mentions that he joined the Devil Hunter Club even though he didn't want to because his mom said he could get scholarships.
Yeah.
Does that mean that Kobeni ditched on the family and is no longer, sending money? So he's forced to join the Devil Hunter Club, and
that would be awesome.
That would be very good.
Good for you.
Kobeni's so such a iconic Chainsaw Man character, and she's become way more popular since the anime. I can't imagine that there isn't a great reveal planned for her at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Some return.
Yeah, Dar, I know you're eating your McDonald's, but you have things you want to mention about the contents of Volume 14 here that we haven't talked about?
Yeah, I mean, y'all covered most of it. It's, I like the aquarium stuff, even though it's, like Morgana said, it's way more low key than like the original Infinity Devil thing. But just having Asa's kind of like meltdown / self doubt, and then the way she bounces back with Denji, and then they're having fun stealing money. And another graphic reference to Tasuki Fujimoto's one shots when they're running happily stealing stuff, running through the aquarium. It's like that shot from Look Back.
Oh, the rain shot?
Yeah, not the rain shot. I think it's just when they're in Tokyo running. I think the two friends that are mangaka. I don't think that was in the rain. Maybe it was.
Oh, right, before that. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So another interesting, just like reusing stuff that he just did. I really like the snippets of Nayuta and Denji's life where it is weird, it's kind of sweet, kind of problematic. Denji is technically like the guardian, but she's clearly like in charge. But she's still like making deals with him and stuff where he's like, okay, fine. I'll let you eat ice cream every single day, but only if I get to have ice cream too. So like then she's like this guardian who's just like very easily corrupted and swayed. Um the comic timing of that scene, I don't know what it was. I don't know if I'm just imagining it, but I really feel like it's different from the usual manga comic timing because like the way Denji for first of all, like classic Denji, he was like, oh, no matter what, the biggest rule of all, you can't kiss me in front of my roommate. And she's like, what? Kiss you? I wasn't gonna do that. He's like, what? But like, one thing could have led to another, and maybe we would end up kissing. He has this internal monologue where he's like, gets sidetracked in his head thinking about like smells. Is he smelly? Maybe he shouldn't sleep with dogs. Wait, dogs aren't smelly. And then he just gets, wait, are dogs smelly? And he just like totally gets sidetracked. And then of course that's when the war devil takes over and tries to kiss Denji to seduce him.
Of course.
And then he gets interrupted, and that gets interrupted by Nayuta showing up at home. So like there's multiple interruptions, and just like the kind of irreverent nature of the humor of Denji just having this brain sidetrack about are dogs smelly. It's just really funny, and it's not like, in my opinion, it's not like the type of humor I usually get in manga. It feels a little bit more irreverent that you usually have in manga.
Yeah, and they did that again, like after the aquarium date. You know, they have kind of share a nice moment because when the aquarium disappeared, Denji got to hold that penguin. He was so happy. It's really funny, like when you get after the battle is over, the aquarium staff is taking the penguin away, and Denji looks so sad. but
yeah,
but like, yeah, they say goodbye, and he's like, oh, you promised you would do whatever I want, so let's have another date. We'll have a good time. And Asa kind of smiles, and the war, Yor is like, oh, so this is what love is. Now it's my time, and tries to do Denji spinal cord sword. But it doesn't happen. And then Denji is like, what? He doesn't get it. He's stupid. So he's like, Asa spinal cord sword. That's a fun way to say goodbye. Bye. And he leaves. But after that, they go, Asa goes home. And is like, I guess even though he said all those nice things, he doesn't like me. Wait a minute. Like, then she's lying in bed and she's like, wait a minute. Even after that, he doesn't like me? And then you turn the page and she's just like, he's so irritating. I hate him. She's just like totally pissed.
In case you forgot, we were working with teenagers here, like.
Yeah.
That 180 is so good.
And then my boyfriend Yoshida shows up and she's like, oh my god, he likes me.
Yeah.
I'm like, girl, you conceited. Though I also almost kind of shipped that too, except that didn't happen, so.
No, he asked her to stay away from Denji, and like that's all. You could think whatever you want. And he's like,
I love that. Like you can interpret that however you want. I'm like, ooh,
yeah,
I think I will.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing we haven't mentioned yet is the famine devil.
Yes, Fami.
She showed up in the last volume when what was Asa's friend that went bad?
Is it Yuki?
Something like that.
I think Fujimura needs to watch more like British stuff because clearly he could just been like fam. Fam's like See, I was about to say fam is the equivalent of lads. But that's something that also makes no sense to Americans.
Seamus, this is a translation thing because they use the Japanese word for famine. I can't remember off the top of my head. So like her nickname in Japanese is based off of that. So this is a translation thing of taking famine and then
they just localize it to Fami.
Yes.
What's it? War, famine.
Tell Amanda Haley, who did the translation, to watch more British stuff, I guess.
War, famine, pestilence, and death.
Okay, so
Unless you read Good Omens by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett, in which Pestilence has retired and has made way for Pollution.
Nice reference.
Because we came up with vaccines.
okay, yeah, so we could expect those to show up at some point in some way.
Yeah, I was wondering about this new devil, and now that we mention it, it's like, well, we've got war and famine, so is it pestilence?
I'm gonna
But you know the answer.
and say it's not one of the other two. It's a different devil.
I was also wondering if it was oh my god, guys, my brain. The blood devil.
The blood
Power?
devil. Power?
Power, yes. There's part of me that's like, well, Power said she was gonna come back, right?
It's they did mention it's a primordial devil, right? So
Yeah.
it's a very like deep seated, like basic kind of fear.
So blood.
Yeah, but blood could work.
Spiders. I don't know. Snakes.
Spider.
I'm not afraid of those things, but I know a lot of people are, and I know it's a very it makes sense evolutionarily to be afraid of things that could hurt you.
The only primordial devil we've seen in this series so far is the darkness devil from part 1.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I make an educated guess based on what happens here at the end of the contents of volume 14, but
Also maybe a great villain for Asa. So we shouldn't tease too much. As somebody who's watching JoJo with Lanibo and sometimes other people who have already seen JoJo, I've been in situations where they're like hinting at stuff. What they think
Let's
they're hinting.
just talk around the
They
issue.
think they're being very coy and very smart. I'm like, bro, you're just, like that's a spoiler. I understand what you're saying. You know. Yeah, it's a we're almost caught up to where the chapters are.
Yep.
So we're not that far. Like Dagazuna aren't that far ahead. There's just a couple more kind of reveals and things that happen. But it's mostly like kind of this action arc that you're about to start seeing is where we're still in it. And it's very interesting. There's a lot of intrigue and cool stuff in it.
Oh, Morgana, do you like the reveal about the student council president? The ripcord is actually just surgical,
Oh my god.
plastic surgery he had because he's such a Chainsaw Man fanboy.
Christ. He has such a punchable face. I find him extraordinarily annoying. I usually don't like, anime characters or manga characters or whatever, but he's just like, I'm like, oh, why are you're so terrible? I hate him.
He was teased as the other Chainsaw Man that cut up Yuki in the last volume, so it's not him. I'm sorry, I'm flipping through these chapters, I'm just stuck on the chapter where Denji is like, he was told by Asa to go like close his eyes and cover his ears and stand over there. And it's like, wait a minute, didn't I decide I'm not going to do mindless obedience? But she said she'd do anything if I followed what she wanted, and then just a penguin appears in front of him, and you finally get to hold a penguin. He's so happy.
Yeah.
Good old simple Denji.
Oh, and prop to the visual of the spear like piercing the devil and exploding into a bunch of marine life.
Yes, absolutely
Yes.
awesome. I also like the look of the Infinity Devil. It's like just the entire face is made up of fingers or whatever into a black maw. Just great visual design from Tatsuki Fujimoto as usual. Continues to be very good.
Props to
Everything-
Denji and Nayuta having a fart counter on the wall.
Oh, I missed that.
I missed that too. That's funny.
They have I don't know what it's called, but the tally marks that Japan does.
Yeah.
Like that character. I don't know what it is.
It's say or go.
Yeah.
Wait,
so-
it's not go. It's say. Yeah. But
yeah.
it's made up of 5. Yeah.
They have like that on the wall. I think it's like May's farts and a column for Denji and Nayuta, and they're kind of tied. It looks like so they're all farting like crazy over there. Bunch of dogs.
Bunch of dogs.
Does each dog also have a fart counter? Like,
It's a lot of
here's
dogs.
Fido and Spike and Rex and
Also, props to the visual callback when she first opens the door, you see her silhouetted with the sunlight from outside, so you don't see her detail, and the dog leashes, the collars, are coming kind of from her stomach area because she's holding it close to her body, so it looks like the same when she would control all the other characters with the chains attached to her stomach. I think it was because I think it was supposed to be like an umbilical cord kind of visual.
yeah.
Um,
Spooky.
very like she's controlling those dogs, like she controls people and stuff like that. And the dogs again look blissfully stupid and happy. I have to say.
Dark Fox subtly trying to put down dogs more here on this podcast.
It's great drawings. I love the drawing of those dogs.
All right, we've been going on about Chainsaw Man Volume 14 for a while. Is there anything else to mention before we start wrapping up?
Nope. Good stuff.
I think at this point we don't even need to ask about, like, would you read more? Because we're all reading more. And we're happy to read more and talk more. So whenever, I'll probably, after Morgana comes back, when we do another Twipple Dip, we'll probably read some more Chainsaw Man. For sure. Dark Fox still showing fries. Let's move along from Chainsaw Man. Morgana, I'll let you pick. What do you want to do next?
Oh, let's keep it going with Dar Dark.
Alright, Dar Dark Volume 4. Being put out by 7 Seas Entertainment. Translation is done by Daniel Coman. Adaptation Casey Lucas. Lettering Phil Christie. Got the copy over here on 7 Seas Entertainment's website. Wait, is this the... I think this is the same copy for the other volumes. Wait, I'll just read this anyway. Zaha Sanko is the most wanted man in the universe. They say if you claim his bones, you'll receive anything your heart desires. Having the galaxy trying to kill you all the time is kind of a drag when you're just 14 years old, but Sanko has the mysterious power of darkness on his side. Not to mention a talking spaceship and 3 horribly powerful space weirdos. Together, they've stayed one step ahead of the interstellar mega corporation Photosphere and an ancient cult that calls itself the Lighthead Order. But now those 2 organizations are about to join forces to create a brand new secret weapon. I think that's mostly right, but on the back of Volume 4, they also had some copy. So let me look at that real quick. Nope, that's the same copy. Never mind. So yeah, we are continuing our adventures of the 4 little shits. Zaha Sanko, the Dark Paggy Avakian, Morgana's BFF. Shimada Death, Morgana's girlfriend. And Hajime Damemaru, the human who is immortal and keeps dying.
Yeah,
keeps coming back to life.
I have no relationship to him. I just have a BFF and a girlfriend in this one.
I gotta say, like, I'm sure it's like also based on like what they're doing in the Japanese volume releases, but I just love this intro page with the cast, and right in the center it says the 4 little shits, hated all over the galaxy.
Yeah.
Gotta love Kyuhei Ashida and her weird fucking shit. So yeah, Morgana, let's talk about Volume 4. What do you think?
I was very intrigued by this Sparkle person who's heading up one of these orders and how they look almost identical to Brainwash Devil Nikaido.
Yes.
It was very strange.
Talking about big sparkles.
Big Sparkles, that's right, that's their name. And their gender is very ambiguous. I cannot tell if they are meant to be male or female.
But they are 4,014 years old.
I mean, who among us
Sparkle.
isn't? Sparkle, and they end every sentence with sparkle.
So, in Japanese, they're saying Pika,
Pika,
like
yeah.
Pikachu. So every time they say something, they're like, yes, we can. I think by now I have the confidence. I can make the ritual succeed, Pika.
Pika.
Does Pika like mean like spark or something?
Yeah.
Yes, it is the onomatopoeia or the sound effect for like a spark or a flash.
Which is why Pikachu's named Pikachu.
Yes.
And Chu is the onomatopoeia for a kiss, right?
It's for a kiss, but you can also use it for like a mouse making a squeak sound.
Right. And it's supposed to be Pikachu's supposed to be a mouse, so
Mm-hmm.
Manga crafting.
Maybe.
Or like Q Hayashida weirdness crafting.
Yeah,
Or Q
yeah.
Hayashida crafting.
Yeah, it's just very strange. And you know, I was gonna say this was a very strange volume, but they're all very strange. I appreciated the throwback chapter where we had giant naked Shimada Death sleeping in Meatball Spaghetti's bed.
Oh yeah, in the flashback, yeah.
In the flashback, and but also the you know, child Shimada Death in her little bathing suit, like swimming.
Very cute.
So cute. I was like, wait a second. I had no idea I would have like mom feelings about Shimada Death. I already had like pants feelings. Now I have like mom feelings, and it's very strange.
Is Severina going to be little Shimada Death for Halloween?
Oh my god, she is a little Shimada Death. That would be amazing, actually. I would paint extra eyes on her forehead. She'd probably be into it too.
The great thing about this volume is things are happening, but it doesn't betray any of the characters. They're still up to their stupid antics. Like, it doesn't matter what kind of big battle's happening, Shimada Death is not participating because they're way too into eating a giant, massive flesh of death or not paying attention. Hajime Damemaru is always dying immediately. Zaha Sanko is running around getting into fights, and Avakian is trying to fucking keep the peace and protect Zaha Sanko.
Avakian is such the mom friend.
He is.
The mom of the group. And he got like walloped, and I'm a little sad about. I hope he's okay. My buddy.
Do you think Kyu Hayashida would ever kill off one of these characters in Dar Dark?
I think that Kyu Hayashida does this thing where she kills characters only a little bit sometimes. I don't think anybody ever dies for real. You know what I mean? Like,
hence Hajime Damemaru.
Exactly. I mean, but that's all of like Dorohedoro too. Like everybody, they die, but like kind of not really, but also definitely, but also maybe not.
Yep. I mean, at one point, Zaha Sanko was fighting and half his skin was missing off his... Well, he was missing a chunk off his arm last volume, right?
Yep.
Vakian got his head, cracked in, so they're... At the end of this volume, they're trying to, fix him. Just more weird space adventures.
It's funny. I feel like, in Dorohedoro, we had a... It was definitely ridiculous, but there was also there is a plot line here somewhere, right? We kind of knew we were following a plot. I know there is technically a plot here and they actually have goals, but I feel like it is so much looser that I actually forget it's not just like a weird space heavy metal slice of life gore fest as opposed to a story with a plot.
Yeah, I mean, we met the big bad here, and all he does is say sparkle at the end of his sentences. They even had Magma Rhydon. They made that a weird young photosphere man, and they had that big fight with him.
And he was defeated immediately. I mean, he's coming back. I realize this. Again, nobody really dies. But, like, it's so anticlimactic. Like, that's not really it doesn't feel like the point.
He got hit with that tiny bone weapon that was a single shot pistol. But it still, like, made his bones pop out of his body, like he's saying he's jumping up for joy.
And I just love that, like, he's supposed to be, like, this terrible, like, almost like this messiah, right? Like, he was created by Big Sparkle as this, I don't know, it's so funny, like, it's such a, it's very Kyuhai Ishida, like, just like, here's this, we're all gearing up because it's gonna be like a big battle, and it's like, shonen manga, blah, and then it's like, that poof, done, it's over.
Yep. But I guess technically he isn't dead because his soul went back to the pot, and they're like, we gotta have another ritual and make him again. Yeah, Dar, what did you think of Volume 4 of Dar Dark?
I demand respect for Hellmaster. I don't think they're taking Hellmaster seriously.
Oh, you mean Hajime Damamaru, what he wants his name to be?
Yeah, it's Hellmaster.
Oh man.
I love how they all encourage him to, like, no, tell us what you want to be called. We'll respect your your wishes, and they're like, fuck no, you're not Hellmaster.
What kind of name is that?
I like his what was it? Me kit? Was that
Oh,
it?
Me Kit.
Yeah.
Which stands for meat kit.
Yeah. And kit being biscuit.
Yes. So they're made out of rice, so it's more like, it's basically like a rice burger, is what they're called. You have it's like a triple rice burger where instead of having like a hamburger bun, you use flat rice.
Mm-mm.
And replace the bun with rice. It looks good.
I love how he was like, it takes 3 minutes, and they're like, oh, that's so long. And he's like, gourmet food takes time.
I'm a connoisseur. Again, somehow in this volume, we still got Kyuhai Ishida coming up with her weird, like, cooking show.
I just like the idea of somebody's living with you now, and they're working at the kitchen, and you gotta like, whoa, what are you making? And then everybody gathers around, and they're all like, watch them make their snack. It's weirdly wholesome, like
I said, it's like a heavy metal space opera slice of life gore fest. It's just like, it's like, here's the new guy.
Except like when they're huddled around, I just can't help but think that they're a bunch of like Muppets, or like it's Elmo and Grover, and they're like, what are you making? What's that? Oh, Elmo, haven't you ever had a me kit? No, what's that? And it's just like, it's just so like the tone and the pacing of it just felt like a Sesame Street like skit.
That's so funny. There, in the new Sesame Street episodes, they have this thing called Monster Foodie Truck, where Cookie Monster and this new Muppet Gonger, they have to like make a food for somebody. Somebody orders something, and they're always missing one ingredient because Cookie Monster has eaten it. So they have to like go to the farm to get new corn to make the tortillas, or like whatever it is, and then you learn all about how corn is farmed or whatever. It's very educational and very cute, but it's literally this. It's like,
except in Kyuhai Ishida's world, the music player, it looks like a fucking kitchen knife that you stab in your head to play music.
Love it.
Fucking great bonus comic here at the end of Volume 4.
It's the extra little pizzazz to the story, to the visual storytelling.
Alright, Seamus, let's turn to you. Did you solve the crossword puzzle at the end of this volume?
No, but I was right. This enemy was the name of the last one. There was like, what's the thing protecting the ship? And I was like, I couldn't be better going back and finding out the page where they say that. Fuck it, we'll just find out next volume. I I summoned up enough will to care for do it once, and now I'm just like,
I thought we were gonna make this a running thing, but yeah, that's fine.
I figured out a couple of them, and then I was like, oh, I'll have to go back and look for specific panels to get a name of like a ship or something. I'm like, I don't care enough.
Oh, are you kind of falling off on Dar Dark with this volume 4?
Oh no, I just don't care enough to go back and read the older panels to look out the name of a ship. Like, there's possible.
That's good. I'm glad you're still enjoying Dar Dark. Then, you have any comments or things you want to mention about volume 4?
I don't think anything to add. I think I was talking about whatchamacallit Lex before, but this time I was actually reminded of there's another comic by Dark Horse. Or at least it was by Dark Horse. Did they still? Yeah, called Bean World. Literally, if you look at it and the story, a million miles away from Die Dark. It's about like, oh god, I don't even know how to describe Bean World. There's this floating bit of land, and there's like these intelligent being creatures, and they do stuff, and stuff happens, and new being creatures come along, and they grow up. They go on adventures and learn stuff and figure out stuff. And it's a struggle to describe it because it's all very like, you kind of need to read it to be like, and this is how they learn to float, and this is how they learn to dance, and this is how they learn to, then this is how you learn about the ecosystem of the creatures they hunt. Food. But it's like, very much like Die Dark, I think just reading this where it's just like, yeah, whatever Larry Mader? It's like, whatever Larry Mader comes up with, that's what you're going to be reading in Bean World. There's no real, like the plot, such as it is probably like watching the Bean people, I don't know, develop society or grow up, or but it's very. That's what I was thinking of this. Where it's like whatever Kyushu Ishida is doing has it on her mind, right? That's what we're getting. Like you're saying, like is there a real plot? I don't know. They're going around the galaxy getting up stuff. That's like about as specific as it gets. And yeah, I guess like there is the whole photosphere and the, what's the religious group called?
What was it? Yeah,
It doesn't matter. I think that might have been
yeah,
one of the
it doesn't
questions.
matter. That's they might as well be the same thing.
Well, I think they implied that at one point they were the same thing, and then the company just like broke off and became its own thing.
Yeah, one is more religious, one is more a corporation.
That remind me of, what's that anime? Kuzo Kumi. It was by your man who did oh fuck it, Ping Pong, the animation. What's his name?
Oh, Taiyo Matsumoto?
No. The director.
Masaki Yuasa.
Yes, some anime about some organization fighting creatures, and then one guy spun out a company separately from it. Just because I literally finished watching that recently.
That one has
Even there, it just fits.
Wait, what anime is what? Masaki Yuaki? That gets me.
It begins with K. It's like Kuno.
Oh,
Kaiba?
No, that kind of.
No.
It's about like monster hunting. I've seen a couple clips from it.
Oh, Kemonozume.
Yes, that's it.
Oh, that's a great show. Yeah. Oh, right, because you have the order of demon
Yes.
hunters, and they're old school, and then the brother is like, we gotta use mech suits, they're much more useful.
But then there's the other old guy who's like, no, I just founded an entirely separate company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Gotcha.
But no, it's still just like, it's funny, like even when it gets a bit more, I don't know, like the plot comes in, it's still just like, yeah, we still have time to just talk about like making meat and the weird gun.
Yep. I love that joke of like, we're fighting this big bad. We need help. Summon the fucking guy who sells us stuff. Here, Zaha Sanko, use this weapon, and it's a tiny bone. but it's still strong enough to become a gun that
That kind
kills
of
the
reminded
bad
me of
guy.
what's it? Men in Black one.
Oh yeah. What's the name of that gun in Men in Black?
It was a small one.
The cricket.
Yes.
I was a big Men in Black fan when it came out.
Did you see the newest one?
Which was the newest one?
It had Chris Hemsworth in it.
Oh, I did. Yeah, that was. It's kind of watchable. Not very good.
All right.
Oh, and there was one thing, I don't know. I always feel like sometimes you capture like doing certain things with art. But here there was like, I think it was two of the chapters. It was kind of right, kind of like the last chapter when they were fighting the light person, or afterwards where they're like, I think is it, oh Jesus, they're arguing over stuff with the arms dealer. But like it's like the two panels, the page, like the panels, they get like closer and closer, and there's two eyes.
Oh,
And then
yes,
like the
yes.
very next chapter, she repeats it again, but it's like, I think it's who is this? All right, I can't remember the names now. I want to say the main guy, the guy who dies the whole time.
Zaha Sanko and Damemaru.
Yes, and I think is it Dame? Is he saying something? He's like giving some backstory that has a Sanko in tears at the end of it. But
They're
it's the exact
talking
same.
about how they want to fix Avakian and like,
Oh yes, and yeah, he understands because it's also his best friend. That,
yeah, Damemaru
but
is like same
it's
for
like the
Mai
same.
Nagaru.
Yeah, it's the same thing where it's like the last panel of the page is like both their like eyes from either side.
Super zoomed in. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now. I didn't even realize that.
It just reminds me a bit of like sometimes in Dorado you see it as well, where it's like clearly like I think it was Dorado. The one I'm thinking of is like they have the panels where you like flip the page and it's like one of the women and they're like mostly or nearly naked, just taking up like one side of like the page, like kind of full length. And then you got the panels on the other side. I think there's a few other ones as well, but I don't know. I have to go back and listen to myself talk, so that won't be happening.
Do you think Yu Hayashida is the type of creator who thinks about, I want to draw this. How can I get my story to get to this point? Because there are a couple people like that. Akiko Higashimura is kind of like that. They are like, I want to draw this in the next chapter. How can I make my story get to this point? Or Paru Itagaki at Beastars, when she's thinking of like her storyboards, her manuscripts, she thinks, there's at least one or two things I want to draw to shock the reader. How can I get my story to get to that point?
I don't know, is it that way? Because I don't know, is she like a big plot person in my mind with I don't think she's going for a particular moment. I don't know, is it more kind of a particular like way of doing something like the close-ups, and then it's like I don't know, I was like listening to I don't know, some guy who actually used to play hurling here, but he was on about how like every season he always tried to do like one or two different things just for the sake of like not kind of getting stale or static. Even if like it didn't make a difference, it's still like, oh, you're trying something else. But I get that feeling with like definitely Door Head around, just even here again. Oh yeah, we'll just try this just because like maybe she hasn't. I don't know, maybe she's done it before, maybe she hasn't. But
I know Go ahead, sorry.
I think it's just that sense of like someone who's still kind of figuring stuff out. Well, not figuring stuff out, but trying stuff out. It's not like she's like got a settled. In some ways, she's got a settled style. Like I think weirdly enough, you're on about how much Sparkle looks like. I can't remember the name. But I feel like in general, like I think if you put all like the characters here up against characters from Thor Hetero, I think like a lot of them are like very similar in look. I'd say she has like her set kind of look, and then she's just like, okay, I don't have to worry about that anymore now. Now we'll worry about everything else. For like a lot of like the human characters, I think.
Yeah, Hajime Damemaru reminds me of the meat pie guy from Dorohedoro.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Same kind of look. We were saying Zaha Sanko is pretty similar to Shin from Dorohedoro with the heart mask.
Meat pie guy. Now that's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Obviously, You know, Shimada to death. It's very similar to Noi. Big, beautiful woman.
My other girlfriend.
Big, beautiful woman.
Dar Dark continues to be weird and fun and a good time. We keep doing Twipple Dips. We're going to catch up soon. I think there's 6 or 7 volumes out in English. And a little bit more in Japan.
I think there's only the 5th volume's only coming out now.
Oh, from 7 scenes? Okay. Hey, Deluxe in chat. He said noisy cricket.
For the
Men
gun.
in Black thing, yeah. Okay. I guess we don't have to talk about would we read more. If we do another Twibble Dip, we're gonna read another volume of Dar Dark. It pretty much goes. So we can skip that part. Yeah, let's move along from Dar Dark then, unless anyone has anything else to mention. Nope. Okay, in that case, let's do our final pick. Yokohama Kaidashi Kikou Deluxe Edition 2 just came out this week from 7 Seas Entertainment. We have been waiting for this. It is a collection of volumes 4, 5, and 6 of the Japanese series. These are triple editions. Not editions, but collections. How do you call it? Is that how you say it?
Omnibus, yeah, collection.
Yeah. All right, let me read off some of the localization for this. Translation by Daniel Komen. Adaptation Don Davis. Lettering Ludwig Sacramento. Logo design George Panella. Cover design Nikki Lim. Proofreader Brett Hallahan. Copy editor Lekhana De Rowan. Editor Linda Lombardi. I will stop there. Good old 7 Seas has lots of credits. Let me read the copy. Alpha, the android, takes a short vacation from the cafe and travels to Musashino to shop and visit her new friend, Kokone. At the shore, Takahiro searches for the osprey, and Maki meets her for the first time. The sun goes down, and another childhood day falls away forever. Chapters 25 to 52 of this beloved manga classic are collected here in English for the first time. Yep, when we did the triple dip with Yokohama Kaidashi Kikou, it was a big hit here on this podcast between the hosts. And yeah, we have everything here now. Darfox, let's start with you. What did you think of Deluxe Edition number 2?
A lot of nice short chapters where something slightly melancholic happens.
Wait, did you not get to read the whole thing?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Every episode is now like, it's back at Dakazu's mind. Did I actually read all this?
Hey, that's just because I was honest
I mean,
about
he was
it.
right, but it was a general thing, so I was like, wait a minute.
Oh yeah. I read a manga. It was that part was interesting where the thing happened. Yeah.
There's a well-experienced book club member. It's like, did I finish it? No. But I was speaking vague enough generalities that, no.
Hey, I'm honest when I don't finish something.
This is also true.
I was a little worried I wouldn't finish it because it's so long.
Yeah, it does read quick though. Thankfully,
yeah, it does. Yeah,
it's such a simple story. It really is just all like kind of mood and vibe. I mean, there is a little bit of like lore and plot being shown with like the flying ship. Just like very tiny bit. The only thing that really stood out to me, I don't know if I'm just at this point I'm so cursed and conditioned to think about grooming all the time. But but Maki was like, "Do you like little kids? Are you into Takahiro?" And like, what's her name?
Alpha.
Alpha. She had to be like, no. If anything, I'm jealous of you because you two will grow old together, and I'll still be here, just living my life. So again, very melancholic, but as Maki took it as kind of sweet, and you get that moment where like the guy comes into the room and the two ladies have
Takahiro,
connected. Yeah, the guy, like the two ladies don't know each other, they haven't connected yet, and then the guy leaves, comes back, and suddenly they're connected, and you're like, oh, I'm outnumbered now.
Dark Fox conveniently forgetting the part earlier where Alpha took a bath with Takahiro.
Yeah, that happened earlier. I thought that happened later.
It was like it was
before she met Maki. It was like right before. But yeah, but but I appreciate that, like, to her, in a lot of ways, he's still a little kid. And she even thought afterwards, she was like, was that inappropriate? Like, because I think there's this idea, like, oh, like, little kids don't, they don't have shame. They don't care about, like, taking baths together is very normal when kids are little. But she's not a parent. She's not a relative.
But she's also not human.
But she's also not human. So it's like,
Having watched all of Teraja's review of Boku no Natsuyasume, taking a shower with an older sibling is something that is really coveted.
That's very interesting.
Or not older sibling, older cousin, older family member. The cute cousin who's like, she's like in high school, right? She's not in college age yet.
Yep.
In that game, it's like a secret, or not a secret, but you have to do very specific things, and then you get to take a bath with her. It's a very cute scene.
You play as a boy, like basically
like a 7-year-old kid or something like that.
Yeah, like Maki's age.
Yeah. It's a very cute scene where they're both in the shower and he's kind of blushing because he's taking a bath with his older cousin.
But also he's like, boiling. He's been in the bath too long.
He passes out in the bathroom and almost drowns, kind of. So it's pretty cute.
I was thinking of actually that video or reading this. Go back, just watch the whole thing. Well, I don't know. Eventually, when they finish up this manga, line them up. And probably what was that? What was that movie? Is it from yesterday?
Only yesterday. Yes.
Yes.
It's a Studio Ghibli film.
Yes.
Yeah, very similar, melancholy, nostalgia. Yeah.
What was that? It's like an old adult lady goes back to her hometown.
Yes, and she has a lot of flashbacks about her
childhood.
Her childhood, and she kind of meets a boy, or she meets somebody there from her childhood, and they have sort of a romance. But it's mostly about the flashbacks.
Maybe Maki in the future. All right, I'll let Darfox off the hook, and we'll throw over to Seamus next. Seamus, you loved Yokohama Kaidashi Kikou when you read the first collection. What do you think of this second collection?
I think I still feel the same. I was like, why do I like this? I like struggling to be like, it's relatively plotless. Although, weirdly, as you were saying that, I was like, the plot of this is Alpha eventually talks to Maki. The whole thing from the start was your man being like, oh yeah, sure on, I'll take you to meet her. She was like, I don't know about that. And he was like, I don't know about that either. Or like the whole thing with the Osprey, I guess, is the other thing that kind of bookended it a bit. Although I don't think they lined up perfectly, but that was kind of the two things. Or both Ospreys, both the ship and the robot. Actually, yeah, I was trying to think, because they say there's like 3 Alpha 2s. So is it like Alpha, Osprey, and the one in the sky, I'm assuming, are the 3. But I can't remember his Osprey and
I
Alpha
forgot
2.
the Osprey is technically And Alpha. Oh, okay.
Is Osprey an alpha too? I can't remember. I feel like she is, but like I wasn't like
That would
right
make
out.
a
Is that
lot
a
of
reveal?
sense. I
not supposed
don't
to know
know if I
that?
remember that specifically.
To my mind, because I was just thinking about like it kind of fits with, and it's just like you could almost see it as, or this is the way I was thinking about it. It's like one you could do almost do like land, sea, air, where like the Osprey is like water, and then the one up in the sky is like air, and then whatchamacallit,
Yeah, Alpha
Alpha
as
is
a
earth.
cafe. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or the other one was I was thinking was like Osprey is like outside of kind of the world. Well, no, that's incorrect. Outside of society, the ship is kind of above the world. Alpha is like in society. Well, I don't know. Osprey is kind of like not in society, but in the world. But I don't know. To my mind, like that feels like where it's going. Because there was that line about three of them. I was like, oh yeah, these are the three.
Huh. I didn't think about the Osprey in that way, but that makes a lot of sense. Good observation, Seamus. Let's turn to Morgana. Morgana, what did you think of this second collection?
I enjoyed it. I agree with Dark Fox. I was gonna say it's this story is just mood. It's lots of mood, and in fact, like we're talking about the different alphas, and I'm just like, I don't even like as I was reading it, I was like, I don't remember anything from like the last volume or understand what's going on, and I don't think I care. Like I'm just kind of letting it wash over me, and that's pleasant, and I'm fine with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, same.
I do kind of appreciate the very 90s, like, I don't want to call it queer baiting, but like, there's all these cute girls kissing each other, and like,
For
or
the
like
data exchange and
for
yeah.
data, or like napping together. Like this is just like it's very innocent, but it's such a like it just feels really 90s where like they used to do this kind of. I just remember like promo art for like anime and stuff with like cute girls being cute together and like they're not lesbians, we swear. But it's very cute and wholesome in so many ways. And yeah, it's just like this like melancholy, nostalgic like moody thing that I don't know that this is not something I would always just want to read. I get like I'm enjoying it. Like don't get me wrong, I'm enjoying it and I would read more. But like it's something that you kind of just have to experience. You know what I mean? It's not you don't go to it being like, "Oh, I really want to know what happens next in Yokohama Kaidashi Kikou." No, it's like
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter what happens
That stuff
next,
doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's like, "Oh, I really feel like just kind of letting something like wash over me and letting it kind of just like put me in a mood, you know?"
Next volume, Alpha's had enough and gets a gun.
Nobody's coming to my cafe. I'll go out and find some customers.
There's a lot of go ahead.
Where is Port Cafe relative to Yokohama? So they say, oh, it's like a long trip, but near Mount Fuji.
I'm not sure. Mount Fuji, to be fair, is huge. You can see it from pretty far away. But Mount Fuji is like west of Tokyo. I'm not sure the exact distance, but it's between Tokyo and Osaka as you head west. But I think Kyoto's first. My knowledge of Japanese geography is not the greatest. There are a couple things in this collection that stand out to me. One is like the chapters that are about the doctor, and in her youth, she would like ride that what do you call it? Like a boat, a speedboat, I guess we would describe it as. They said it was kind of in conjunction with like developing the Alpha series robots. Androids? Are they robots or androids? Somebody help me.
I think they refer to themselves as robots in this.
Wait, what's the difference?
Yeah, an android is a robot. A cyborg has human parts as well as robotic parts, right?
Yes, I think an android is just supposed to be a little more advanced, and a robot could just be like a robotic arm that picks something up.
Okay.
I think android is supposed to
So
be
like a humanoid. Yeah,
I
okay.
think so. I'm calling it here. That's what android means.
They had that chapter where Alpha, the doctor and the uncle ask Alpha to steer the doctor's ship out into the horizon before like it basically breaks down to send it off. And then it cuts to like Alpha has a deep connection. She imagines herself riding on top of like the ship. The art there is fantastic. It looks great. And eventually like she loses connection. She's like falls away as it goes off on its own, saying goodbye. Or not really saying goodbye, but she loses connection. You know, she made a connection with it and then it was gone. And she can't get it back. And she cries. It's very touching.
This is very much like, I feel like this happened a lot in like sci-fi of the 90s where we feel like sympathy for robots, or like we humanize them. And obviously Alpha is intended to be humanoid, but even like this ship is getting, you know, she's connecting to this ship, so we're connecting to it too. And it's very like, I don't know, it's very idealistic. I feel like you know, Star Trek did this with Data also. I'm thinking of Star Trek Next Gen. You know, where you're meant to question like, well, what makes something human? You know, what is it, you know, is our ability to think, is it our ability to feel? And now like in 2023, as we're confronting like intelligent computers and artificial intelligence, there's the part of me that grew up in the 90s that's like, hey, like, do robots have rights? Are robot, you know? And then there's the part of me that's like, I'm terrified. If all the robots were like Alpha, it'd be great. That's fine, but like, I don't know. I've mentioned this before. I'm a little bit terrified of, you know, our potential future robot overlords.
I'm more terrified of our corporations using the robots and AI to just like keep us doing manual labor. Meanwhile, the AI does all the art.
War. Yeah.
But yeah, it hits different, romanticizing the search for humanity and stuff like that, and just being like, well, we kind of have other concerns, or it doesn't apply to our world in any real way, at least not how it is here.
Well, in the world of Yokohama Kaidashi Kikou with Alpha, it's not really about her finding humanity. She has humanity. It's there. There's the other moment I wanted to talk about is she's talking about the camera that she got from her master, and she's recalling a photo she took of the uncle, and talking about how it's not just an image. It takes her back to that point in time. Like, that's what's being captured in that camera. She also looks at a photo she took of Kokone when she first met, and describes like the experience as like it's like a time machine. That's like such a nice idea.
Do you know who robbed that idea?
Oh, who?
The people who did Mad Men. I swear to God, there's a bit in the first season where like, I think Kodiak come to them with, I think it ended up being called a carousel. It's like that thing where I guess you put the photos in and you hit the thing and it spins around. It shows a different photo every time you click it.
Oh, like a slideshow?
Yes. But Don Draper literally gives a speech. He takes images of his family and literally gives a speech that's like, it's not I think he literally says it's not a wheel, it's a time machine. It's like a carousel. It always just comes back to that time, like when you know you felt safe or you know you felt loved. But I was looking at the camera thing and I was like, then I'm like, yeah, I'm just guessing. I don't know if this is just what cameras are and people's conception of cameras. I feel it's very much in that idea of like, oh, you can like look at an image and like go back to that time or try and remember that time. So in our case, it literally is like, I don't know. I guess it'd be like in a video game. Wait, in that new Resident Evil, can't you like take a photo and like move around the world?
You have the photo mode stuff. Where yeah, you can freeze time and position the camera, move it around.
There, that's a Resident Evil Rob that from Yokohama shopping trip. No, because the one I thought of, that one, and also the one with, what did she say when she's talking to Mackie? It's like, you're like two ships, and then like I'm just on the shore watching you go by.
Yeah.
Also, about this and Dar Dark had people in swimsuits and talking about swimsuits.
They did. The thing about Maki and Takahiro in these volumes is you see like already some passage of time, you know? Takahiro's still kind of obsessed with wanting to see the Osprey again, but he's gotten older. He's gotten a little bigger. There's like a bonus comic where like the Osprey's like spying on him. So that's cute, but you know, the Osprey is not, you know, appearing in front of Takahiro anymore.
That kind of reminds you of, there's a thing, I think someone wrote about this, about like stuff about the Narnia stuff, or just idea in general with like a lot of fairy fiction, where like at a certain point, it's like the kids grow up and they just don't see them anymore, or like they're just not. It's like they're still there, but like it's not something they're ever going to interact with again. That's something I feel like that's kind of the whole thing with the Osprey. It's like she's still there, but it's like, now you're too old now. I'm not like dealing with you anymore. You're like, you're not going to see me anymore.
Yeah, I guess they mentioned in the last collection with that one character. I forget his name. He's older. The guy who travels with the flying Barracuda. Yeah.
Love that Barracuda. Those like sick wraparound sunglasses.
Yeah, they mentioned in like the first collection how he used to see the Osprey, but he can no longer see her. So, but you know, he has that memory. He had that one fun chapter where he was going through that tunnel.
Yeah.
That sounds like a nightmare, walking through like an abandoned tunnel that's 10 kilometers long. But at least they had the midway point. Like some guy runs a cafe at the midway point in that tunnel. What a fucking... That guy probably gets less customers than Alpha at her cafe.
Right?
Sure, it's something to do with his life, like.
Wait, what? Sorry, I missed that.
I was going to say, it's like something to do with his life. It's like, oh, I'll go up, I'll go into the cafe. Maybe someone shows up, maybe they don't.
I mean, there seems to be very little else to do in this world, truly.
Are cafes in this manga like podcasts in real life where everybody just has a cafe? And they just set it up in an obscure place.
And hope somebody comes by and listens.
What it reminded me of is, like, I don't know if it's still the case, but like I was reading, it's back a few years ago, it's supposedly like in South Korea, a big thing was people wanting to like open their own cafes or like work in a cafe. That was it was like everyone was like, oh, you got a bit of money, gonna open a cafe. And I don't know how much that was like, is it easy to do, and how much was like, I don't know, that was just like this cool idea of, oh, I get to open a cafe. That's what kind of around you up here. It's like, are they all just like, oh yeah, I'll open a cafe, that'd be a pretty cool way to like spend some time, make a bit of food, meet some people.
I guess when you live in the post-apocalypse and the world is gonna die, you might as well spend it doing something like that. It's so funny because they told him, it's all around in this world. Like, the roads are all disheveled and they're falling apart, but it's such a different image of, like, the end of the world. Zero conflict in terms of, like, war or, like, people going Mad Max. It's like, no, people are just still the same, but there's less people because they're dying out. Less things to do. It's just empty. And then a couple old guys go out on a boat and have a couple drinks underneath, like, a street lamp that's still working. That was one of the color scenes in this book. I love how they include all the color pages.
Yeah, they're really nice. Honestly, this manga makes the post-apocalypse not seem so bad.
Yeah.
Like, a little bit sad, but also, like, maybe I'd rather live there than what we have going on right now.
Yeah, I get it.
Seamus, did you like I think it was a between chapter image of, it wasn't Alpha, it was the other girl with the short hair. She was on a lamppost at night, like a street light.
Kokone, yeah.
What was that scene with the song?
No,
one
that
you're
was
talking about?
Alpha dancing. This was just after chapter 45. It's page 346. You see Kokone standing on the street lamp holding the moon guitar.
No, wait, what, did she have the guitar? I thought she was just sitting on the street lamp. It wasn't quite an apartment building at night, but it was kind of still had like night photography kind of vibes to it.
I'm looking at page 346, and it's Kokone on a street lamp holding a moon guitar.
I think Dar's on about an earlier one where it's like a colored chapter, and it's Alpha. I think it's like a short chapter about like something about her in a song, and then it like ends with her on the guitar.
I'm gonna open up this goddamn Kindle app and find it.
The funny thing is, like, we could be describing a bunch of things that are very similar in this collection because there's
I
so
think
much of the same.
they are very similar. There's like two different characters, and one's in color and one's not. And I think
the one I'm talking about was not in color; it was black and white.
See, I'm thinking of the earlier one that is in color. I am also like skimming through. I'm like, where the fuck is this page?
Like I said, the one I was talking on page 346.
Oh yeah, that one chapter with the customer. Who do you think the customer was? Where it's like from their point of view.
Oh, yeah, I was wondering about that too. I was like, is it meant to be you, the reader? Like, kind of in the, because it was from that perspective. Like, oh, this is what it's like to go visit her cafe.
Just some random customer who comes around once in a while. That's
so
it.
The one I'm thinking of was 128.
No, I was talking about the one because the one when August said you have like the lights in the distance looks like lights over water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lights reflecting on the ocean. Yeah, they're long streaks. Now we're just looking at the book. Sweet podcast.
You look at this page.
Throw up you those panels up there so people can look at. I'll get your channel taken down over copyright strikes.
Unfortunately, I don't have the Kindle app downloaded on my computer, so I should do that though.
You should. I thought it was very. You could tell like this was written in the 90s when at the very end of this collection, Alpha gets a package from Kokone, which is a bottle of Kahlua liqueur.
It was a very 90s thing in Japan.
I mean, when's the last time you heard about Kahlua?
I tried to get some of it in a bar the other day. I'll say the United States, lads, you're not great when it comes to certain drinks and bars.
No,
Oh, what type of drinks do they not have?
Distinct Sambuca. Only one bar I've been to out of 3 so far has said Sambuca. Like, what am I doing here? Like,
Yeah, I feel like a lot of Americans don't have a very broad liquor background. Like I feel like most drinks are like vodka based. You've got like a handful of tequila drinks,
A bunch of whiskeys.
lots of whiskey, but I don't
Mhm.
like
gin.
yeah, but if you go like if you want to get exotic, like it's not you have to go to like even you have to go to like a tequila bar or like a Mexican restaurant to get like mezcal, which is essentially tequila. But yeah, like a regular old bar is not going to have like a full range of interesting liquors and liqueurs.
Just get a Yingling. Just get that good old Yingling.
I don't think the Yingling is gonna do what the Sambuca will do.
Although I did get some like guava craft beer. That's I didn't know the taste much guava off it, but it was nice enough.
Well, we're at the point where we're talking about booze now, so
craft beers.
Starfox is bored. It's not the Four Loco talk anymore.
For local, you said.
Okay, yeah. Anything else to mention about Yokohama Kaidashi Kikou Deluxe Edition number 2? Wow, the time counter is so long on this episode. Holy cow.
We had another prison school to talk about.
That was in part 1. This is just for like Chainsaw Man, Dar Dark, and Yokohama Kaidashi Kikou. I guess we kind of went on for a long time about Chainsaw Man, but jeez. Anything else to say about Yokohama Kaidashi Kikou Deluxe Edition 2?
Nope.
Alright then. Same with Dar Dark and Chainsaw Man. I think it's easy to say all the hosts would love to continue reading this. I believe Collection 3 comes out in August. So hopefully Morgana will be back and we'll be doing another Twipple Dip to read the next collection. Now here's the question, because we're at the end of this episode. Which
Fuck,
one
marry,
of
kill.
these... Fuck, Mary Kill.
Yeah, forget about 1, 2, 3. You need to like, come on, we've been at this for 9 years. Better spice it up.
Oh, easy.
Okay, go Dar, Mr. Mononohorny.
Marry Yokohama. Oh, actually. Okay, marry Yokohama. Fuck Dar Dark and kill Chainsaw Man. Interpret that as you will.
I think that's wrong.
Right, actually, what's your approach?
You fuck Chainsaw Man, you marry Dar Dark, and you kill Yokohama Kaidashi Kikou. Because Yokohama Kaidashi Kikou is dying Earth.
I was going that exact approach, but yeah, Yokohama.
Wow. Y'all will only marry somebody if you... Wow. I'm telling you.
Because if I marry Dar Dark, I'm marrying Shimada Death, and Avakian, and everybody there.
And they're all immortal.
Yeah.
In which case, you're just recreating Yokohama shopping trip, and like you're the kid, and they're all like.
So,
The marriage is a long life. You want to have a long, good, fun
I was
time
going to say
with
though, in
Dar
Dar Dark, that'll be a short marriage, because like you're not surviving any fight.
All right, that's also true.
so my headphones popped out as soon as Star Fox started talking about his lineup, and so I have not heard any of what you said.
Then it's time to pick your lineup, Morgana.
Oh God.
What do you fuck, marry, kill for here?
I don't know, man. I mean, like Yokohama Kaidashi Kikou seems like a You know what? It's very nostalgic. So it's like a one night stand, right? It's a mood. It's a thing. So that's, I guess that's the fuck. I'm marrying Dar Dark. I don't. It's just like madness and absurdity, which I think is the best thing to bring to your marriage. And I guess I'm killing Chainsaw Man, which I don't think is going to be permanent. So I'm okay with it.
They'll just come back.
They'll just come back. Denji doesn't die, so it's fine. I don't think I want to think about Chainsaw Man or Denji in any kind of romantic or sexual way ever. So yeah, I think I'm gonna marry Dar Dark and get busy with Yokohama. But yeah, I was really worried you were gonna have to you were gonna make us do first, second, third, and I was like, I don't fucking know at this point.
So this was better.
This was better. Yeah, I
Thank you,
like them
Seamus.
all. I like them all, and I don't have like a ranking at this point. They're very different and fulfill different needs.
There you go.
Well, see, what I'm going to do is I've created my version of the GameSpot engine, ranking engine. So, like, I'm going to put Fuck, Marry, Kill in and get a score out, and then reviewers... Is it reviewers tilts? Is that what it was called?
Yes, yes.
Reviewers tilted there.
There you go. We've been droning on and on this episode. It is time to end it. I'm very tired now. Thank you to Dark Fox, Morgana, and Seamus for being on this week. Reminder that next week we're going to try something different with our first episode of Left to Right. And we're going to read the first collection of Pretty Deadly, East of West, and Ursula. So stay tuned for that. If you enjoyed Manga Machinations, make sure to subscribe to us, review us, rate us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever else you can find us. Check out our website, mangamachinations.com. Our Tumblr is mangamachinations.tumblr.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel where we are streaming our episode recordings, youtube.com/mangamactv. Come join our Discord server. Come talk to us about playing Mahjong. Discord.me/mangamactv. You can buy us a coffee to support us. Darfox, you have made a little splash page of thank yous on our coffee. ko-fi.com/mangamac. We got thank you to Deluid, Maya, Wyatt, Philip, Vicky Dalton, Dr. Meltface, and Poor Mexican 72. Thank you for your donations and supporting Manga Machinations.
And further shout out to Philip and Wyatt. Those are repeat tippers, so very, very kind.
Thank you so much. Send us emails to mangamachinations.com. Well, no, send them over to mangamachinations@gmail.com. And follow us on Twitter @MangaMacPodcast. That's Manga MAC Podcast. You can follow my personal Twitter @Dakazoo, follow Darfox @Darfox8, follow Morgana @MorganaRelina, and follow Seamus @Seamus2389. Seamus is spelled without an H. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to us this week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, folks.